Page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.
Holla at you, man, and the app with us. And we gonna make this thing on the pop with New Orleans Talk Network. With real fans talk about real
Get it,
sports.
G.
And not only sports, it's everyday activity in life, man.
My name is Jaquan Jackson, SMU commit, and you're tuning into FanView.
Yo, what's up? It's Poogle Williams, 2017 Mr. Football. You are now tuned into FanView Live on New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
FanView Live, where real fans talk about real sports, only on the New Orleans Talk Network. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, because we're not just a sports talk show, we're a talk show about sports.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching.
I like you guys a lot, watch your stuff, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
I've known G for a while, so man, it's great to be here.
It's
Thanks
great.
for having
It's great
me.
to have you. Listen, everybody tuning in for FanView Live. Listen, if you're on Facebook, subscribe to the page FanView Live on Facebook. Subscribe to our page on IG. If you're on FanView Live, also subscribe to the page on FanView NOLA if you're on Twitter. Don't forget to follow my man GSportz. If you're trying to get the plug on what's going on in high school basketball, high school football, listen, I keep telling y'all each and every week, GSportz is who you need to follow. He gets all the scoops, all the interviews you're looking for. He is the man. You ain't got to follow nobody else. He is the guy. Y'all have to do before I get ready to start this show. I always give a shout and salute to the armed forces and military. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, First Responders, local police department, local fire department. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Each and every Thursday, if no one gets y'all shouting love and support, FanView Live will do it each and every week. Now, this week here we got to talk about in the world of sports. We got guys, later on the show, we'll be talking a little NFL. Russell Wilson, should he be the highest paid, QB in the game? Coach Drew here want to give us some tips and everything regarding how to maybe fix a little things by college football. But right now, college basketball is upon us.
Yes.
We didn't have the Sweet 16. We didn't have the Elite 8. We're down to the Final Four. I know everybody bracket is shot. I know mine is shot. I had Duke winning it all. I had Duke winning the whole thing. Brackets are shot, brackets are damages, but regardless of here or there, the results are the results. We are down to the top 14.
Yep.
We're down to Virginia, Texas Tech, Auburn, and the last but not least, they're on my head, they're on my mind. We got Texas Tech, Michigan State, the one who took out my Blue Devils. Guys, I want to open up this show for everybody tuning in. Who is going to win March Madness within the Final Four? Who is the team you're going to pick? If you had to pick one of these 4 teams, now, most likely some of the people that have not chose one of these 4 teams. Maybe you got one team that's made it to the Final Four. But regardless of all that, these are the last 4 teams that we have left. Michigan State, Texas Tech, Auburn, and we have Virginia. GSportz, who you have winning the Final Four?
I can't go against Tom Izzo.
Coach Izzo, see?
I can't go against him. I think the lack of experience with the coaches that's in the Final Four, with Coach Beard, I think he did a phenomenal job this year at Texas Tech. He overachieved. I think they're going to be real. Yeah, why overachieved? I think they overachieved. I'm sorry, I said underachieved. I think they overachieved this year. Nobody expected Texas Tech to be in the Final Four in the beginning of the season. Now, I paid attention to him during the season. Culver. It's going to be a lottery pick. I thought he was a phenomenal player, but I didn't think they was going to be able to defend it the way they did, especially against Gonzaga. Gonzaga came in as one of the best, if not the best offense coming into the game, and they held these people under 70 points.
Yes.
And that whole starting lineup can shoot it. They good in pick and roll. They good in transition. They got about 3 kids that's probably going to go in the first round of the draft. So the way they defended was phenomenal. The kid Owens, I think he's real versatile. That makes them be able to switch on pick and roll with him, and it's not an issue. So I think Texas Tech is a team that really surprised me. But I gotta go with Tom Izzo. With the kid Winston leading the ship. I think he's one of the most underrated point guards in the country. Has a very unorthodox game, but this kid gets it done. He defends, can shoot it, get to the cup. Great playmaker. Right. And this Michigan State team, the thing I like about them, very unselfish. There's no one guy that you got to focus in on. There's no star power in that team, and I think that's how Tom Izzo does it. You don't really see him recruit the one and dones, and we're gonna get into that later. Right. But he shows that he gets players that come here at least 2 years, at least. Right. 2 years, 3 years sometimes, and that's the criteria he likes for his team, and that's why they're in the Final Four. And I just can't go against him. I see them cutting the nets down on Monday night. I think do they play Auburn? No.
Michigan State plays Texas Tech.
They play Texas Tech. I do think Coach Beard gonna get them ready to play. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think they ultimately cut the nets down, and I think they end up playing Virginia in the national championship. And I just don't think that Virginia has enough offensive firepower to be able to keep up with Michigan State. And I think Michigan State wins the national championship, cuts the nets down, and I give Tom Izzo with his second national championship.
Second national championship.
Since Mateen Cleaves.
Mateen Cleaves and Zebo.
Yeah. 2000.
Yeah. 2000.
Yeah.
2000.
19 years ago.
Yeah.
I think I was in the 9th grade, 10th grade, something like that.
High school.
Getting old.
High school.
But that's my pick. I got Michigan State, man.
Coach Drew.
Yes.
Who you got winning this Final Four? Who you got?
Well, I'm picking a little bit with my heart at this point because, like you, I had Duke winning it all.
I had Duke winning it all.
I had Virginia in the Final Four, but I didn't have Auburn or Texas Tech or Michigan State. Now, Michigan State and Virginia really aren't surprises. I think Texas Tech and Auburn are sort of the surprise teams. Neither one of them have ever been to a Final Four before. But at this point, having watched the tournament to this point, I'm going to go with my heart a little bit. Full disclosure, my older brother went to Auburn with Charles Barkley.
Oh, okay.
My older brother was a PA announcer. Gil, shout out to him. He's in South Carolina, but he was the PA announcer in the gym when Sonny Smith was coaching.
Come on.
And did baseball games when Bo Jackson was doing freakish things on the baseball
hell of a time to be at Auburn.
Absolutely. But I think Auburn, the one intellectual way I can defend Auburn is if you look at their path to what they've done to get to this point.
Right.
It seems to me like Coach Pearl has got those guys on a very, very deep level, believing in him, believing in each other. And you look at the way, particularly the way they beat North Carolina, they took command of the game. And a lot of times when you see sort of an underdog, they're up by 5 with 10 minutes to go.
Right.
You could, and I'll have to admit, most of these games, I've got them on my DVR.
Right.
So I'll kind of scan and you just kind of watch the score as the clock goes down. They never really let Carolina back in the game.
Right.
And you also look at the fact that they beat Kentucky. Now, they were familiar with Kentucky. They had beaten them before in the SEC tournament. They, I don't think Kansas is as good as they have been, but they're a storied program.
Right. Correct.
So this Auburn team, they don't care about the tradition of their opponent.
They don't care about the jersey that's in front of you.
No.
They don't care.
And I saw the way Okeke went down with that knee injury.
Didn't miss a beat.
And I saw Pearl's reaction after the way the team reacted to him and the way he was playing. I love this kid Harper. 4 key free throws late to ice the game against Kentucky. And just the way he darts to the basket is he just beats everybody on a step. He is so quick. So and Virginia, I think, has been a little bit inconsistent. Now, I will say this overall. The Sweet 16 round and the Elite 8 round, it was almost like every game was down to the wire.
Yeah.
So it's not like any of these teams have really separated themselves like Alabama in football kind of did.
Correct.
All these teams are right there. Now, I'll say this with regard to the Texas Tech-Michigan State matchup. Texas Tech's strength is their team defense, right?
Great.
And I agree with you. Cassius Winston has been an unbelievable guard. His play, the only thing that concerns me, and I think Izzo's a great coach, and I think he'll have a great game plan. The thing that concerns me a little bit, if I'm Michigan State, is everything kind of funnels through Winston. He's the distributor. He's the assist guy. He can score. He can do it all. But Texas Tech does a great job, and they actually I watched a video on it yesterday or a couple days ago where Texas Tech plays their man-to-man where they flush everything to the baseline. They will never let anything cross their face and attack from the top of the key or from the free throw line. And so I wonder if the matchups with maybe not the bigs, but the power forward type play, if that's going to work out for Michigan State, and if Texas Tech can shut Winston down in terms of forcing him to do something that he's uncomfortable with, which I don't know what that is because he's so well-rounded.
Right.
But I think the key to the game is going to come down to Winston on offense and Texas Tech on defense, and how much is Winston going to get his team involved. And then, with Auburn, I just see it, and again, back to the UNC Auburn game, Auburn ran them out of the gym. 97 to 80.
Yeah.
Auburn is going to run. I don't know if Virginia can keep up. So, and I just think Auburn's kind of the team of destiny right now. We're talking about Zion, we're talking about Duke coming in. They won about 3 games there that just was right down to the wire. And that concerns you a little bit when you go down to the wire against Virginia Tech. The UCF game was awesome because that was Johnny Dawkins coaching, and of course,
the former being a former assistant with Duke,
the big 7-3,
the big 7-3 guy, and then you look at the end of that game. But I'll tell you this: I think the end of the Duke UCF game was Zion taking it in, hitting the 2-pointer to cut it to 1, and missing. That was almost kind of a gyp win. Like, if you're a UCF fan, that's just a heartbreaker. I feel the same way about the Purdue-Virginia game. I feel like Purdue should never have let Virginia get that shot off at the end of regulation, to send it into overtime. You almost feel like Purdue ought to be there instead of Virginia.
But at the same time, and I know you're about to go, Fred, if Central Florida convert that alley-oop with, a minute and 10 seconds, minute and 20 seconds, that puts them up 8. That was a 4-point swing.
Right.
It's little plays like that will keep you from advancing.
Right.
And I think that play sticks out in my mind. They missed that alley-oop. I mean, look, you got to convert that right there. And also, the Purdue game. Listen, I've been watching Carson Edwards for a while now. Really good player. Look, he played out of his mind.
Right.
He played out of his mind. I mean, this guy was hitting shots from the parking lot.
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't even looking at the rim, and he was just dribbling, shooting it, making it. He played unconscious. I'm glad Purdue didn't win because there's no way in the world Carson Edwards was going to be able to keep that up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it was good for March Madness, the drama of it all, but Virginia was supposed to win that game, and I'm glad they won that game.
Right.
The thing with Virginia, besides Hunter and Guy hitting some 3-pointers for you, I just don't know where their production on offense is going to come.
And but that's what I love about him.
Right.
DeAndre Hunter is like that.
Yeah, he is. But and I think they're gonna be Auburn because I think Auburn, even though even with Bryce Brown and Harper and those guys, they playing phenomenal. They can shoot it.
Yes.
I just think they play a little chaotic, and I think Tony Bennett is gonna find a way to slow them down and run them off that 3-point line.
Yeah.
And things of that nature. But I think when they play Michigan State kind of plays a similar style to Virginia, not really getting up and down too much, gets up and down when they have to.
Right.
That's why I think Michigan State is just I mean, I'll be surprised if Tom Izzo and his team is not cutting his nest down.
I would say this. I would definitely agree with you on that part. At that point in time, that game can come down to coaching and who's been in those moments more. And coaching, like I tell people all the time, even when Duke lost to Michigan State, y'all got to stop believing coaching don't matter. Coaching matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Coaching matters. Y'all looking at the talent of Zion and R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish, and y'all saying these guys are not great players. I'm here to tell you right now, that Michigan State team is a very good coached basketball team. And Tom Izzo don't just recruit the one and done. He recruits guys that's going to be there for juniors,
right?
Sophomore, juniors. So they're seasoned guys for situations, and coaching will come into play. So I think Michigan State, because to me the Duke bracket was a real tough bracket. You're looking at that bracket had the LSU in it. That same bracket had Michigan State, had Duke in it. It had a lot of tough contenders in that bracket. So I always thought if Duke came out of that bracket, I thought Michigan State could probably be the team that could win it. But my team I'm choosing to win this Final Four is going to be Virginia. I like DeAndre Hunter. I think he's overall the best player left in this tournament. I think if he could put these next 2 games on his back and get Virginia down to the championship game, I think they can come out here and pull it off. To me, the ACC was the toughest conference overall in college basketball this year. When you're looking at Virginia,
I don't know, the SEC.
They have some good players. They have good teams. But you look
SEC,
at
man. I think the SEC was the best conference this year.
I think
Tennessee and
Tennessee, Kentucky, LSU, now Auburn all won ACC, won the SEC. But
Mississippi State wasn't bad.
But look at Florida State, real good football, really good basketball team.
Right.
You had Virginia, you had North Carolina, you had Duke. So to me, and NC State was not horrible. They still was competitive a little bit. But Florida State, to me, if they was in any other conference, could have ended up being a 2 seed. If they was in another conference, they could have been a 2 seed in this tournament. But because they was in an ACC, they ended up being a 4 seed because you got North Carolina, you got Virginia, and you have Duke. DeAndre Hunter is, to me, he's a very good basketball player. I mean, he's exceptionally good. To me, Michigan State is, when I look at Tom Izzo, they're the best coach team left. To me, Virginia's the most efficient team left on offense. You look at efficient possessions, a team that could probably score 70 points in this tournament. They don't score in bunches. They don't really shoot a lot of dominant threes. Auburn has it as of late. Auburn has shot in 3-ball, very efficient. But overall, Virginia's the most efficient team left in this tournament. And I'm gonna take.
What do you think about the pace of the game between Auburn and Virginia? What pace is an advantage to which team?
The pace, actually, to me, if the pace is slowed down, it's actually going to favor Auburn. And here's the reason why. Because Auburn, if they're knocking down that 3-point shot, and if you're going to the 35-second shot clock, you're going to favor Auburn. You're going to favor that team. You cannot beat that team scoring 50 points. You're going to get up and get out going and score 7. If you're scoring at 50 points in this game, Virginia's going to lose. You have to push the pace a little bit. You have to make Auburn take some bad shots. Some bad shots. Shots that they're maybe comfortable taking throughout this tournament, but they're taking a little too prematurely. They're taking it maybe with 20 seconds left on the shot clock. And you want it to come down to a little bit of coaching. Because they kind of exceed expectations. They won the SEC tournament, but people didn't expect Auburn to be like this at this point in time. They probably expected them to be out.
Me too.
But they won 12 games straight. That's a lot to do with coaching in this tournament. But you got to get them being uncomfortable. You got to come make it down to coaching.
So you got
I got
Virginia.
Virginia.
I've got Auburn.
You got Auburn. Now that's interesting. We all got 3 different picks.
Now wouldn't it be something if Texas Tech wins? And all of us are wrong.
All of us are wrong.
Nah, what's really going if Tom Izzo cuts down the nets, like I think he will. That's what I think. And I will say this. I say this every year in college basketball. The best team hardly wins the Natty, and this is gonna be one of them years. Because in my humble opinion, I think Gonzaga was the best team in college basketball, top to bottom for its coaching, players, team camaraderie, chemistry, all of that. I thought Gonzaga was the best team in the country. Obviously, they got put out. So this is going to be one of them years again where the best team doesn't win. Because I think Michigan State, even though I think Tom Izzo was a great coach and I think they got some good players, but let's be real. Virginia too, and Auburn. Let's be real. You can't sit here and tell me y'all think one of those 3 teams are the best or the second best team in the country, top to bottom, for its coaching and players.
No, they're not. They're not. Not Auburn.
Right.
Auburn is to me is overachieved. To me, everyone. I think most people bracket, unless you went to Auburn, had North Carolina come out that bracket.
Yeah.
You had North Carolina come out the bracket.
Look. I said it on Twitter. I said it on Twitter. A lot of the Tar Heel fans thought I was, hating.
You do some of that sometimes.
The writing was on the wall with North Carolina. I didn't think North Carolina deserved the number 1 seed. Let's put that out there. Let's get that straight. They should not have got the number 1 seed.
So what have you seeded them?
They should have been number 2 seed.
Okay. But who'd have been the 1 seed?
Tip of my tongue. Tennessee. Right. I feel like Tennessee should have been the 1 seed. North Carolina should have been the 2 seed.
Okay.
Just Luke May was their most consistent player this year. And no disrespect to Luke May. I think he's a good player. Anytime that showed best player, and that's who you got to go through when you need a bucket, I just felt like that wasn't going to be enough for them to get to the promised land. Corbin White had good games this year, but he was so inconsistent. And Nazir Little, oh my God.
Corbin White needs help, Brady. He can't keep playing basketball with hell out over the place.
Nazir Little let the Tar Heel Nation down this year. I mean, we expected, well, not me, but they expected him to come in here and be one of the top players in the country. He didn't even start. damn near 70% of the games this year. And when he did get in the game, he looked like a shell of himself.
Top 5 recruit in the country.
And for the life of me, I can't understand why in the hell he even submitted his name into the NFL draft. I mean, NBA draft.
We'll talk about that.
But here's what I'm going to watch this weekend, because here's what's interesting. You've got 4 teams that it's really a toss-up in a lot of ways. It's not clear. Nobody is clearly better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. So you've got kind of 4 teams that are a toss-up. Mm-hmm. They're going to a place that's a little different. None of these teams travel to Minnesota.
Right.
Correct. So it's a little bit of a different atmosphere. Sure. It's going to be, is it in the Viking Stadium? Is that where they're doing it? With all the glass and everything?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's going to be in a different place. And I think a lot of it is going to boil down to who's hot, who feels comfortable shooting the basketball, which, of course, means who's going to make teams uncomfortable with their defense.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But, like you said, Auburn is streaky,
chaotic,
but they're on that streak at the right time. And I don't know that Virginia, when you've just been through North Carolina and Kentucky, I don't feel like Virginia is going to get in the way of Auburn's streak. That's just kind of how my gut feeling on it. Now, on the other side of it, like I said before, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Texas Tech games. I haven't watched a lot of them. But as I watched, Michigan State Duke, and as I watched the Texas Tech, I saw a little bit of the Texas Tech upset of Gonzaga. Their strength of their team, I think they're the one team that when you look at these 4 teams and say, they've gotten here because of team defense.
Yeah, right.
They've gotten here because of team defense.
Culver is a.
Yes.
I mean, that's my whole concern about Virginia. Even though I think Hunter's a really good player, you got to have somebody that when you run a play and everything breaks down and nothing's open, you got to have somebody you can throw that ball to and be like, man, we need a bucket.
Right.
Culver is that player, and I think that's along with their team defense.
Right.
It's been the reason why they're in the Final Four.
And if this goes the way it's been going, some of these games are going to come down to the last possession.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Harper for Auburn. That's why I like.
So you rather you rather Harper with the ball in his hands at the end of the game than Bryce Brown? Bryce Brown been playing out his mind.
I'll put it to you this way: Harper has finished at the hole.
Yeah.
He has shot well from outside, and he's been clutch at the free throw line.
That's big.
So, as far as what I've seen, just in the streak that they're on, the little man has been the big man.
Yeah.
So I like Harper, but guard play is so huge, and basketball has evolved into a guards game.
Correct.
It's evolved into small ball, speed ball, outside shooting, attack the rim, handle the ball, and guard defense. How well do you extend outside the arc defensively without getting yourself in trouble? Because you can hang with people, because you've got the athleticism to stay with people. So I tell you what, I mean, just as a basketball fan, we talked a little bit about this, G. How fun it was to watch Thibodeau in the state this year. The most fun thing about watching Thibodeau was getting to know that team, getting to know some of those kids, getting to know Coach Clark, and the way they won was it wasn't really a streak because they were great all year.
Right.
But the whole year was almost it just felt like a destiny.
It felt like a destiny, though.
And the way they came together, but they just didn't have size.
Right.
They didn't have any size, but they played great defense. They played great team defense. And then the other thing was they had 3-4 guys scoring double digits a game. You never knew who was
you couldn't key on one person.
No.
So I just, like you're saying, Brown, Harper, I like what Auburn has, and I like Michigan State too, but just kind of deep down, I think it'd be the coolest thing in the world if Texas Tech and Auburn get in the finals. You got 2 teams that have never won it.
Yes, and it would be, for rating-wise, it would be fun to watch because they both kind of get up and down. You got Culver, you got Bryce Brown, Harper, Bruce Pearl with his, he's so animated on the sideline.
Yes.
It would be fun to watch. And just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, when you have a team, and that's the kind of, that's the times we living in right now. When you recruit, you got to recruit guys. I'm not talking about guards, I'm talking about bigs.
Right.
You got to be able to recruit bigs that when they run pick and screen and roll. Mm-hmm. Y'all can switch. He can switch to a guard, and it's no issue. Right. And that's why I think Texas Tech, like I said earlier, why they're in this Final Four, because somebody like Owens, they run pick and roll. He like, all right, come on. What you gonna do with those long arms? And he can guard you all the way to the goal. If you want to do step back threes, he's long enough to be able to recover. And he had a big block in that game against Gonzaga. Right. I feel like it was one of the turning points, because the guy was about to go up and shoot a 3-pointer to tie the game up. He comes out of nowhere.
Closed out, yeah.
And closed out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so damn long. So, that's the times we're living in with bigs being able to guard and guard on the pick and roll and switch and stuff like that. And I think when you see people like the Warriors, they kind of started this with Draymond Green, the small ball. And people are trying to, it's a copycat league. College basketball is doing it. I mean, look at high school. Thibodeau had, their tallest player was 6'2", that actually played 6'1". Sophomore. Thick guy. Yep. But when people ran screen and roll, it was no issue. I can guard a guard. Right. I can guard a big. I'm strong enough to guard a big. And that's why you saw them win a state championship this year.
Man, listen, I can tell you one thing. For a lot of fans who are out there thinking that this Final Four is like, man, listen, it ain't worth watching. North Carolina not in it. Duke not in it. Mm-hmm. Listen, man, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about Saturday night, and I'm going to be just as excited about Monday night. Yeah. This is one of these Final Fours where if you got a chance to watch the brackets and watch the team and how they got, see, to me, it's all about how you got here. Right. Now, granted, did I see Texas Tech as a team that can make it out their bracket? No, I didn't. Did I really see Auburn as a team that can make it out their bracket? No. But if you watch how they got here, right, it makes you, if you get involved in how they got here, I think that this Final Four is just as great as any other Final Four that we've seen in previous years. Mm-hmm. I think it's something worth watching. I think because how they got here and how they had to beat, who they had to beat, listen, I think if we didn't start the tournament thinking that the teams that were going to be here were going to be here. I'm telling you one thing, whoever come out the tournament deserves to be the NCAA champion.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I thought Houston was going to do what Texas Tech is doing. Or Auburn. I thought Kelvin Sampson had that team rolling like that to the point where they was going to get to the Final Four. I didn't know if they was going to win it, but I thought they had a great chance to get there.
Whoever wins it, I'm going to be happy for them. I'm going to be excited to see that.
It'll make you turn into get locked in onto college football. Listen, guys, we're going to take our first break. Don't go nowhere. FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about college basketball, but we're going to talk about coaching perspective. We're going to talk a little Tom Izzo. Has he been one of the best coaches in college basketball in the past 20 years? Y'all don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. Stay locked in. FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports. Again, subscribe to the page on FanView Live on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll be right back.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy, DJ Slick Daddy.
This DJ Slick 514.
And of course, I'm your girl, Black Coco.
Tune into the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, every Tuesday, 7 to 8:30, with all the trending topics.
And you can also check out my mix, DJ Slick Mix Club 1 and 2.
And of course, check out Coco's Sex Tips of the Week.
And hashtag TTBF. That's that bullshit. It's the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, Tuesday, 7 to 8:30. We're always live. Let's go.
What it do, y'all? It's DJ Slick Daddy from the Live Line, here to tell you about the hottest bar on the West Bank, After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelco Boulevard in Gretna. Come check us out on Monday for steak and oyster night. Thursday, free seafood night. Friday, 3-for-1 happy hour. Saturdays, ladies night, and always open for parties. And then Sunday, Saint Sunday, Older But Goodie Sunday. Come find out what is hidden for at After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelco Boulevard in Gretna. Doors open at 6, 12 p.m. on Sundays. After Dark is a non-smoking atmosphere.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, man, it's Fred. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our New Orleans Talk Network page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.
Holla at you, man, and act with us. And we gonna make this thing on the pop with New Orleans Talk Network. With real fans talk about real sports. And not only sports, it's the everyday activity in life, man.
My name is A.K.A. Jackson.
From Iowa State. I watched them play against Washington State, the Bulldogs.
Listen, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports. New Orleans Talk Network. Again, subscribe to the FanView Live page on Facebook. Subscribe to our page on Instagram at FanView Live. Subscribe to the page at FanView NOLA. Don't forget to subscribe to New Orleans Talk Network on Twitter at NOTN Live. You can catch this show in a variety of different shows that New Orleans Talk Network produces throughout the week. But we're still talking college basketball. We got the Final Four here, but the question we're going to bring up is Tom Izzo. This is his 8th Final Four appearance in the past 20 years. I'm going to start off with you, Coach Drew. Where do you have Tom Izzo at? It's probably, is Tom Izzo your best college basketball coach in the past 20 years? If not, where do you have him at in your list?
Well, that's always a tough question when you say, is he the best in the last 20 years? And I looked at this from two different sort of angles. One is just statistics. What's his success been? How did his wins stack up against some other great coaches? The first thing that is obvious about Tom Izzo is that he has established a relationship with a university that has lasted, and that's rare.
Right.
When you can stay in one place, have a great relationship, and not leave. He's been at Michigan State as the head coach for 20 years. So I did a little bit of research. 24 years he's been the head coach. His winning percentage is 72.4%. Now, let's just throw out a couple of legends that we know about. Coach K, Calipari, okay? Coach K's been coaching for 44 years.
Right.
Army and Duke. Over those 44 years, his winning percentage is 76.7. Now, that's taking into account, I don't remember how many years he was at Army, but Army was not as successful as Duke, and he's still at 76.7%.
Correct.
12-time conference champion, 15-time ACC tournament champion. Izzo, and again, take into account longevity because he's got about double the years, but Izzo, 9-time Big Ten champion, 6-time Big Ten tournament champion, 1-time national champion. Coach K's got 5 national championships. Coach K's got 3 since Michigan State won it.
Right.
So 01 would certainly be, not in the one and done era. You probably wouldn't put 2010 in the one and done era either. So 2015 is probably, which I know we're going to talk about one and done.
Right.
Now Calipari, we're talking UMass, then a little 3-year hiatus to the New Jersey Nets, then Memphis, then Kentucky. So 8 seasons at UMass, Calipari 73%, still better than Izzo, while he was at UMass. Memphis, 9 seasons, 75.9%. Still better than Izzo.
Wasn't playing anybody.
Fair. Not like the Big Ten's the best basketball conference ever. But okay, so that's slow ball, right?
Jab.
Tough ball, right? And then 10 seasons at Kentucky, 81.1%. While 10 seasons at Kentucky.
SC just got
5 conference championships, a national championship, 4
Final
Final
Fours.
Fours. He did have a national championship nullified or a runner-up. That season in 08 was nullified, I guess, at Memphis.
Right.
So, and by the way, he was awful.
The Derrick Rose year. Derrick Rose.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was awful in the NBA. He won 39% in his 3 years with the Nets.
Right.
So the next thing I have to look at, which Coach K and Calipari, they sort of win the stat contest with the numbers crunching. I look at it this way. I look at it from an eyeball test. The the ultimate question is, would you want your kid playing for this guy?
Gotcha.
Okay? Now, I would not for a minute say no to Tom Izzo as far as would I want my kid playing for this guy. Mm-hmm. You know, he got some flack a week ago, which was absurd. You know, criticism he got,
him
I
and the
thought
kid,
was absurd.
he was talking to.
Now, I will say this. Saying that a coach's behavior is inappropriate and wrong is one thing. Judging whether a coach's behavior is effective or not is another thing. All right? So, Izzo is hardline, old school, 100%.
Right.
Okay? He doesn't appear, at least on the eyeball test, to be really interested in rapport.
Right.
He's interested in being the boss.
Right.
He's interested in you doing what he says.
Right.
Now the thing, I'll tell you this, just as a fan of the game, when I watch Calipari, he kind of gives me a little bit of a whiny impression. Just a little bit. He kind of has that look on his face like he's kind of whining at the refs, and he'll get on his players.
Right.
Now, Coach K, particularly in the last, let's say, 10 years, has been Joe Cool, really. I mean, I think back to the 90s and the Hurley Leitner years, and even in the Johnny Dawkins years when I was in high school. Johnny Dawkins was playing when I was in high school, and Coach K was not calm in the earlier years.
Right.
So I look at all of that.
He's became more relatable to the class that he's recruiting.
Yeah. And I think any great coach, Tom Izzo included, gosh, Bruce Pearl included, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You look at those guys and you say they understand that number one is I've got to convince my players that I have their best interest at heart.
Right.
And if they believe that, I can rip you a new one. And you may even get in my face, or you may just say, yes, sir, coach, and have to adjust a little bit, depending on what time player you're. But you're going to respect it and you're going to respond.
Right.
The thing about Izzo that I've seen in this tournament that I think is interesting is very few coaches have coached for that long, and they still don't lack any zeal for timeout, getting in a player's face. And I have seen on more than one occasion players or assistant coaches basically kind of grabbing him, saying, you made your point. Let's move on. And he just kind of and I've seen him, it's like every time out, most coaching staffs, the 3 coaches or 4 coaches will separate themselves for 10, 15 seconds.
Right. Yep.
Kind of have a conversation, and they'll come back. Izzo's starting to lay in. His other coaches are kind of pulling him up. And then it's almost like they have to get him focused because he's so emotional.
Right.
Now, Bruce Pearl is emotional, but he's just, it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever been a teacher in class like I have. There's some kids that are just disruptive and they're mean.
Right.
And then there's some kids that are just disruptive and they're entertaining.
Right.
Like they're just fun kids that just can't really. Bruce Pearl's like the fun kid that just loves it so much.
Right.
He screams at everybody.
Right.
He screams positive. He screams negative. He looks like he's been in the weight room. I mean,
Right.
I would think, I don't know why, if anybody needs to wear a golf shirt and not a tie, it's Bruce Pearl. Because that guy is busting out of it every game. But, I think Tom Izzo deserves tremendous respect. It's awesome that he is still having success after 24 years. It's a little bit different, and I know we're going to talk about one and dones, but because basketball has so many games in every single season, it's a little bit less obvious when something happens, almost like a Joe Paterno situation or a Bobby Bowden situation, where you hang around for too long because there's so many games. It's not like every week the world's watching one game and then that's all they talk about for 7 days.
Right.
So anyway, I think Tom Izzo is probably, because of his longevity, because of the success that he's had, I know Pitino's not in a good place now, but you kind of think about Pitino, you think of Greg Self. I don't know who else you put up there. I mean, obviously Gino in women's basketball, but I don't know who else other than the guys we've mentioned are kind of in that legendary status that are still coaching.
You know, I just can't believe, Coach Drew, all the knowledge that you have, and I respect your basketball.
Did I forget somebody?
Mind.
You left one out.
You're going to be so disrespectful to my guy, Jay Wright.
Jay Wright.
Okay. Jay Wright at Villanova. Look,
I thought about Jay Wright.
Jay Wright, listen, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion,
Okay.
after Rick Pitino,
Okay.
I think Jay Wright is the second best college basketball actively coaching.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Here's why. Okay. He has 570 wins, 30 wins from 600.
Right.
He has 6 31 seasons. He has 13 21 seasons.
Gotcha.
He has two natties in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't recruit one and dones. And he coached Villanova in that era in the Big East where it was the Louisvilles, the Syracuse, the Pittsburgh with Jamie Dixon, the Notre Dames when they had Herring go in and all them boys. He coached in that Big East era where the Big East was like every game was like a brutal schedule.
Gotcha.
And not to mention, he has the best Italian suits I've ever seen in my life.
Suits off the chain.
Suits off the chain.
He's number one in suits.
Listen. Whoever he gets his suits from and gets them tailored by, I know his suits gotta cost at least $1,000 a piece at a time because it's always slick. Yeah, and he has a fire haircut. I mean, he has the best swag out of all.
Now,
you know,
not to make it get weird, but he's a little bit of a better looking man than Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
But Rick Pitino's suits are nice.
Yeah. But he don't have nothing on Jay Wright. I promise you.
Yeah.
But Jay Wright, I love his demeanor on the court when he's coaching. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I love his perspective when you watch him in his press conferences.
Yeah.
Win or lose. He's not really the guy to blame the refs too much. Right. Doesn't really whine about not getting calls or his players didn't show up to play. He kind of tells it how it is, and that's the kind of coach I like. I think he doesn't get enough respect from the media around the country about how good of a coach he is. I mean, 2 natties in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You got 570 wins. You're 30 away from 600. You got 4 Big East tournament titles. You got 6 regular season titles. And you don't recruit one and dones. And he's had a lot of players go to the NBA. Probably I don't even know if he's had a player that got picked in the top 5 of a draft.
How long has he been the coach?
He's been at Villanova since 01. He was at Hofstra before that.
Hofstra.
Okay. And why is not recruiting one and dones an argument that makes him a better coach?
Because you don't have the best talent on the floor every night. And he still recruits good players. Like when he had Randy Foy and Allen Ray and Chris Jenkins and DeFenzio and
the 4 teams in the Final Four right now aren't one and done programs.
Right, but this is something over the last 6-7 years.
Had Josh Hart, Chris Dunn. He's had some guys.
Yeah.
They're not your elite basketball. You're looking at
Chris Dunn went to Providence.
He went to Providence. Right. It's one of those cases where is he recruiting? Is he getting the top 5 or top 10 players to come to Villanova? Not so much. He's getting the 15-ring guy, the 20-ring guy, and he's building the program.
He's going after guys that are really, really good basketball players. They're just not one and done players.
Who wants to go to Pennsylvania? He's gonna go.
Hey, Philly's kind of nice.
Yeah, but
it's a sports town.
And I love if you watch Villanova out of a timeout, like his plays out of a timeout, phenomenal, man. He always draws up something that gonna get somebody open, a good shot, something at the rim. He just does a great job all around the board, defensively, the way his team play defense, how hard they play for him. I just like everything about Jay Wright. I think he is behind Rick Pitino, in my opinion.
Right.
I think he's the second best coach in all of college basketball, and that goes with Coach K, Roy Williams, and all those guys.
Okay, now.
And think about the resources that he has at Villanova. He don't have nowhere near the resources that Coach K and Roy Williams
So
have.
you got Pitino as probably your number 1.
Honestly, realistically speaking, Jay Wright is number 1. I mean, I'm just a Rick Pitino fan. I've been a Rick Pitino fan since I was a kid. So I'm saying that, but taking all my biasness out, I got Jay Wright as the best college basketball coach in the country.
Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all.
How dare you be disrespectful like that, Coach Drew?
Well, I'll tell you, there are two things why I didn't. I thought about Jay Wright. I'll tell you there are 2 things why I didn't think of him. Number 1, because I don't think of him as a 20-plus year guy, and I thought we were talking more about
because he doesn't age.
But I will say this too. I also didn't think about him because he doesn't have the winning percentage.
68%.
Again, All these other guys are over 70.
Over 70.
So he doesn't have the same winning percentage. Now, basically what you said is a point that I think we're on the same page with, which is you like him from the eyeball test. You like what he's doing. You like his demeanor. You like the way he handles his program. And I'll say, absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. In fact, if I were thinking about, if I had a kid playing college basketball, I don't know that I would pick anybody over Jay Wright for a guy that I wanted to go play for.
And he has more national championships than Tom Izzo.
Now, I will say, and I will say this.
Let's not forget.
When you're in a basketball program, resources, quote unquote, is not nearly what it means in football.
I agree.
It's a very different. You can build a program with a gym, and I mean, even if you look at Duke, you look at Cameron Arena. It looks like a library. Yeah, and I mean, they don't need the Dean Dome. I mean, the Dean Dome is what, like 3 times the seating of
I was all about the carrier dome.
Yeah, all right. So but I agree with you, and I know we're going to get to the one and done later, but I would say this too. I think the jury is still out on judging the building program strategy. Right. And I think the NCAA and the NBA are still the jury's kind of out on how they're going to respond to some of this. Because everybody wants to say, as soon as Duke lost, everybody wants to say, well, what about the one and done? What about, it's not working? Chill. I mean, these teams are playing near 40 games in a season. Imagine this, just for a second. Imagine if all these college basketball teams played their college football schedule and they had 11 games. Don't you think the chances of Duke succeeding go way up when the number of games goes way down? Because all of a sudden, now it's a matter of endurance and injuries and depth, and all of a sudden you could ensure, I think, that one and dones would work a lot better if you cut the games way down, and every game meant so much more.
But it wouldn't be that much tape on those guys. You had to really go a lot off of practice versus if you only had 11 games.
I agree. Right. But the thing about the one and done, why, and I'm kind of contradicting myself because but coming into the season, I thought Duke was going to go undefeated. I really did. I didn't think their role players was that bad. I didn't think they were going to be that bad. Versus when you saw Kentucky win the national championship with a one and done with Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist,
Marquise Teague.
Yeah, Teague and all those guys. They had a good supporting cast. I want to say Terrence Jones was on that team. Lamb was on that team. When Duke won it with Jaleel Okafor and Winston and Jones, Trey Jones' brother.
Trey Jones.
They had a good supporting cast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the only 2 teams I can think of that won a national championship with the one and done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think some people might say Syracuse, but I mean, that was only really 2 freshmen. McNamara and Carmelo.
If we're only judging the success of one and dones on national championships, there can only be one national champion every year.
Right.
63, I guess now 67 teams that are in the tournament go home with a loss.
Right.
So I think if you look at it more in terms of Final Four, how far that you go deeply into the tournament, and I don't know, I don't think Coach K is sitting here right now going, I'm going to rethink the one and done.
No.
I don't think he's doing that.
But I would say this, as a diehard Duke fan, I think most people would think that my bias would be towards Duke, maybe Coach K being the best, at least college basketball coach in the past 20 years. You look at, obviously, one, I think they wanted it again in 2010, they won again in 2013. Getting to maybe five Final Fours over the 20-year span. But to me, he's not number one. Obviously, Tom Izzo been to now 8 Final Fours. Only has 1 national championship. So when you look over 20 years, 8 Final Fours, that's impressive. That's most of all the active coaches coaching college basketball right now. That means 1 out of every 2 years, or 1 out of every 3 years, the old basketball program is in the top 4 in the Final Four in March Madness. And you're not doing it with a bunch of freshmen. You're doing it with juniors and seniors. So, you're getting guys you're getting guys to buy into what you are selling,
right?
As a program. But to me, my number 1 overall coach the past 20 years is actually Roy Williams. And here's why. You won 2 national championships with 2 different programs. You won one at Kansas, With,
okay, Rick Pitino did the same thing.
Within the past 20 years, you won 2. Rick Pitino did, yes. But he's won.
And Rick Pitino, not to cut you off, is the only coach in history to take 3 different programs to the Final Four.
That's correct. But when you won it at Kansas, well, Nick Collison and I think who's also on the team?
Drew Gooden was on the team?
I
don't think they won the national championship that year.
No. Hold on. He lost at Kansas. I'm sorry. He lost. He got him there. He lost.
So Syracuse.
He lost to Melo.
Yeah.
But when he got to North Carolina, he's won it with a bunch of pro players with
May,
Raymond Felton, Rashad McCants. He won it with that. Then he won it with the Tyler Lawson group. Him and Tyler Hansbrough. Then he just recently won it again with Bryce Johnson and Justin Jackson. He's won it with that group. He's been to 7 Final Four appearances. And over the past 15 years, he has an 80.5 win percentage. Not 70. 80.5 in Roy Williams. You talking about, and again, this guy's not doing it now with one and dones. This guy's getting guys to become juniors and seniors. Look at Kendall Marshall when he stood up to, fell a couple of years. Marcus Price, who's a high schooler. Page. Yeah. Stayed to a lot of different subjects. To me, Roy Williams and what he has done, because North Carolina was a program where, hey, look at the amount of pro players that came in. The Vince Carters of the world, the Sam Perkins of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, Jerry Stackhouse, all the guys that's come out of that program. And he's taking that program and said, man, you know what? This is now Roy Williams' program. You got to think about who he's replacing. That legend of a coach. This is now a Roy Williams program. We can't say the same. I cannot say the same thing for Mike Krzyzewski. I don't know if Mike Krzyzewski, because understand, Kansas was a well-oiled machine that he got to that program. Kansas is what it is. Still like to do the Roy Williams. A lot of people don't still think that Bill Self is the guy. People think that Roy Williams is the guy that built that program. But Roy Williams, what he's done for North Carolina, getting to 3 national championships over 15 years and winning it. Getting to 7 Final Four appearances. And he's not doing a bunch of NBA players anymore. He's getting guys to stay to their junior and senior year. So he's doing a heck of a coaching job. To me, he's my number 1. Yeah, look at the last.
You get a lot of flack from the Duke fans.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack from the Duke fans.
You're a Duke fan.
What about the eyeball test though? I mean, if you watch him coach, obviously he's having some vertigo issues.
Yes.
And he almost looks like an older guy that it's getting worn down.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, and I mean just in the very inadequate comparison in my experience of coaching over 18 years in high school. I mean, I remember getting about 5 years into it, thinking if I keep this up, I'm not going to make it. like I'm not going to make it to 40.
Right.
Much less 50 or 60.
Right.
And so I think as you get a little bit older as a coach, you've got to figure out how to keep your emotions a little bit more in check. It seems like Roy Williams is still very, very passionate, but for some reason, when I look at Roy Williams on the sideline, I don't get the same amount of confidence that I get from Coach K or Jay Wright.
Right.
Or Calipari. Calipari probably a little bit more confidence from him too. Now, just to be clear, a couple of numbers things. I know I've been throwing out numbers. Coach K has been to 12 Final Fours.
12.
And Calipari at Kentucky did win 81% of his games in the last 10 seasons at Kentucky. So again, I think you can get all those numbers and you can illustrate anything that you want to make your point. I think Roy Williams, I think Rick Pitino, these are all legendary guys. At the end of the day, I wouldn't take Tom Izzo. I wouldn't choose Tom Izzo in the big scheme of all time of college basketball over K, Calipari, Pitino, Williams, Jay Wright. Now, if you want to get into more obscure, I mean, there's some coaches at Belmont and Temple that have been coaching for 30 plus years.
Right.
Unbelievable coaches. But, I think sometimes when you've got a coach that stayed at one place for a really long time, like I think Bobby Bowden at Florida State, when Primetime was there, when Charlie Ward was there, when he
Peter
got
Ward.
those seasons, and he did innovative things that coaches didn't have the guts to do. I think as he got older, he stayed an outstanding human being, an outstanding mentor, probably became a little bit aloof to some of the stuff he probably should have been paying more attention to, and truth be told, probably wasn't as effective a coach. And so I think
this was more of an overseer.
His greatness at the end, kind of like Paterno, his greatness at the end, scandal notwithstanding at Penn State, kind of got blown out of proportion just because he'd stuck around for so long.
Correct.
I get a little bit of a hint of that with Izzo, but Izzo's right there in the Final Four right now. I don't think he's lost any effectiveness, and I certainly would not call any of his coaching tactics inappropriate or wrong. But I saw an interview with Gino yesterday. Somebody did, and he was basically saying, coaching today, coaches are scared of players. Coaches are scared of players.
Scared they're going to transfer.
Scared they're going to transfer because you've got, and this is a great point by Gino. He said, in order for you to have the right to raise your voice or get hostile with a player, you have got to have earned the trust that they know you love them.
Right.
So the only way you can accomplish that is to spend more time with them. And the one thing the NCAA is coming down hard on every coach on is practice hours.
Practice hours.
So you can't spend time with them. And, oh, by the way, you can't raise your voice at them either now because what are we expected to do? Just say, please go run the play.
Right.
And now we're looking at the NBA and we're seeing things like, superstars are running the league.
They're running the league. They're more powerful than their head coach.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they've always probably made somewhat more money, but now you're in the exposure age where everything is under a microscope. Everyone's looking for the story. Everyone's looking for the next take. Everyone's looking for something. And you're saying to yourself, man, these players are that powerful. Now these players are getting other players to come join them. They're being partial GM to the team. They're kind of constructing what they want to do and how they want to do it. And they become that more powerful because we live in a different generation. We live in a social media generation. So that exposure generation now is nothing's what was quiet now. Things that as fans we never heard about, we're hearing about it all the time. It's becoming out now. But to me, I can say a lot of people look at Tom Izzo and like, man, this is 8 Final Four appearances, man. Because right now we're talking about that now. 8 Final Four appearances, man. Where would you put at Tom Izzo? I got him in my top 5.
And the national championship team that won in 2000, they beat Florida, right? Or Mike Miller Donovan.
But Donovan won 2 of them.
Right, but
right around there, but he lost in the final.
He lost in the final.
I'm saying they played Florida in that championship game.
Would that have been Billy Donovan's 3rd?
Well, that would have been his first.
That would have,
okay, because
it would have been his third.
Because Duke won it the next year.
Yeah,
won.
Because Noah, Corey Brewer, and all those guys came
later.
Maybe 3-4 years later.
That was Mike Miller team.
Yeah, that was Mike Miller and Teddy Dupe, I think, was on that team. Right. You know what I'm saying? But and I didn't think that Michigan State team was better than that Florida team. I didn't think they were.
I was a fan of Mateen Cleave, though.
Yeah,
I'll say this: if Izzo cuts the nets down this year, I think he's probably gotten him into the top 5. To me, he's right on the edge of definitely top 10, maybe top 5. Not sure.
He's in my top 5. I probably have him at 4. I think obviously Roy Williams is my number 1. Coach K at number 2. I'm not willing to put Colin Perry 3rd. I think he's a better recruiter than he is a coach. I'm gonna have to put Jay Wright 3rd.
Hey, you can't be disrespectful to Jay Wright like that.
I'm putting him 3rd.
He should be 1. He should be 1.
Give me your top 5, G. We gotta go to Bree.
Jay Wright.
Okay.
Coach K. Roy Williams. And then the 4th and the 5th spot, I mean, really doesn't matter. To be honest with you, I guess you could put Izzo at 4. Who would be 5? I don't think there's 5 great coaches.
I'll say
in college basketball.
I'll say this, G. The only reason why Jay Wright is not clearly higher, and I don't want to speak for Fred, but for me, is because he's the coach at Villanova.
That's what I'm saying.
If he were the best in the last 20 years, you would think he would have gone to a bigger
high program.
Yes.
You figure Arizona or
right.
But I mean, I know we got a break, but the numbers don't lie.
Go to UCLA, baby.
The numbers don't lie.
They got a job open. Go
Numbers
to
don't
UCLA,
lie,
baby.
I mean, but you got to think about it. He go way across the country. His recruiting ties are in the East.
Oh, he'll be able to recruit at UCLA.
I mean,
I think so.
I mean, he probably would, but it's different when you know these AAU programs in your
Go get UConn,
region.
baby. Go get UConn, baby.
It's different when you know the high school coaches all in that region. It's different when you're going way across the country, or it's
go to UConn, baby.
Across the United States to the West Coast, where it's like you got to get more familiar. It's different.
Well, I tell you what, I hope we're talking about 10 or 15 years from now is how Johnny Dawkins is in that conversation.
Yeah,
because
he's going to get a big job.
I think he's going to get a big job. I like the way he coaches. I like everything about the way he handles himself, the way he handles a program, and you can tell a lot about a coach from watching his kid play, and just what kind of a player, what kind of a teammate his son is. And think about this. Think about, obviously that was a gut-wrenching loss for UCF, but think about that kid, man, growing up right there in Durham, North Carolina. His dad, pretty much everybody would say him and Christian Laettner, the best Duke player of all time. And then you go into UCF, Dad, where are we going? I mean, I don't know how
change the scenery,
but that had to be a tough thing, you know, being a part of that. And I just think the way he handled himself, and I still remember back in the 80s when we first had ESPN, and Dick Vitale was young, and he was saying, I'm Johnny Dawkins. You can't call a foul on me. I'm an All-American. And he was so annoying. But Johnny Dawkins, man, he was just so good. And we were watching ACC, and my dad's a Georgia Tech grad, so we were watching John Sally, Bruce Dalrymple, and Mark Price, and those were awesome years with Georgia Tech and Duke. And of course, Carolina was always good. Right. So it was just it was fun to watch him come up as a coach. I've kind of been. Even though but I wasn't really a Duke fan as much during the Hurley-Laettner years, but I've kind of been pulling for Bobby Hurley as a coach. Right. Although, man, he's got to calm himself down.
Yeah.
He gets himself out of control. And I think his dad was a tyrant too as a coach, so he grew up with that. But you know, Arizona State probably in the best landing point for him, but he's got to keep growing and moving on and. He certainly knows the game. I just don't know if he has the patience to be an effective coach. Whereas Johnny Dawkins, man, he looks like
always in control.
Guru. Yes. Very much in control. I like him a lot.
Well, listen, guys, we got to take our next break. Listen, don't go nowhere. FanView, Real Fans Talk. But when we come back, we're going to talk this one and done. Got to get into it. Got to talk about the one and done. Y'all don't go nowhere. Stay locked in. We'll be back in about a minute and a half. FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports.
You're right, baby.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
Well, what's up, everybody? This is boy Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this is your boy Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with GSportz. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, A.K.A, and on Twitter, G_paid-in-full-08.
Pay me the money. money.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on the Gulf Coast that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, man, it's Fred. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our New Orleans Talk Network page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.
Holla at you, man, and interact with us. And we're going to make this thing on the top of New Orleans Talk Network. With real fans talk about real sports. And not only sports, it's everyday activity in life, man.
My name is Jaquan Jackson.
That's true, but then again, they're not taking a job such as sports program.
Right.
You know, UCLA job, yeah, it's my college basketball. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports, the New Orleans Talk Network. Again, subscribe to the FanView Live page. Leave your comments. We definitely gonna get into this big time conversation right here and now. Obviously, one and done is gonna become a popular conversation. It comes a popular conversation every time around this time. You know, we talk about some of the best, high school athletes, go play college basketball, and we see their games on display, at a phenomenal level. And then we had a chance to watch some guys in high school, take that talent to the NBA. But since 2000, I think after the 2005 year, the NBA had created a policy where high school athletes had to at least be 1 year removed from high school in order to be eligible for the NBA draft. Is the one and done rule getting too old? Should the NBA now reconsider this one and done rule? Is this rule not officially getting old? G, what do you think? What's your take on this?
I mean, if they do get rid of the one and done, it's going to hurt college basketball. I mean, it is what it is. The ratings are going to go down because, you got people like Zion Williamson, Marvin Bagley. I mean, the list goes on and on that when they coming through the AAU ranks on the circuits, on these, on the Under Armour circuit or Nike or Adidas, the media is following these guys. And it's going all on social media. It's going all on YouTube. These guys are becoming celebrities in high school.
16,
and so,
15.
And everybody's watching this. Everybody's watching the clips, and everybody's seeing it go viral. And now you can't wait till they get to college. So Zion Williamson made college basketball a lot of money this year.
Yes.
A lot of money. Too bad he can't reap the benefits from it. But that's neither here nor there. But if you get rid of the one and done, college basketball will take a hit. Now, I'm still going to watch it because I'm just a sports head. I'm a college basketball junkie like that.
Right.
But, the people that's not that way, they're not going to watch college basketball like that. They might watch it once they get to the Final Four.
Right.
But you're not going to watch it all throughout the regular season. The Duke and North Carolina rivalry is going to go down. Every rivalry in college basketball will take a hit because you're not going to have the marquee players that everybody knows about because they're going to be in the draft.
Right.
And you're going to have guys that's not even like that entering the draft. And it's going to kind of water down not only the NBA, but college basketball. So you're going to have a bunch of guys that's going to be 3-year players that,
they be out the league.
That people are not going to want to turn their TV on a Friday night or Saturday night and watch because they're just not popular. And we live in a trendy world. Right. We live in a world where, man, you saw Zion Williamson on YouTube. Right. Man, check him out. So if you don't have them kind of things going on, people are not going to be enthusiastic to go watch college basketball. Like I say, I will. I'm pretty sure somebody like Coach Drew will. But the average fan will not sit down and watch college basketball if this one and done leaves and they start letting these guys go to the NBA, in my humble opinion.
Coach Drew, what's your take on the one and done? Should the NBA should it be eliminated, or do you think it's still an effective rule?
Well, there's several interested parties at the table of this discussion.
Gotcha.
And G, I know you're a huge football fan. I think you're probably you may be a little bit more of a basketball fan than a football fan. I don't know. Maybe you're both. I'm probably a little bit more of a football fan, but I'm very much a basketball fan. But I'll say this about football: the NFL is king.
Yes.
And college football is big in America for two reasons. Number one, because of allegiances to schools and the fan bases of schools.
Gotcha.
But also it's because of the connection to the NFL that's provided by the NFL draft.
Gotcha.
That's become an event. It's in my hometown this year. 5-day event in Nashville. 300,000 people are coming to downtown Nashville this year.
Yes.
For the draft. Now, we just saw the AAF kind of collapse in front of our eyes.
Crazy.
And it seems that primarily the problem was that there was no NFL Players Association agreement with the AAF to truly be a developmental league or a feeder system. Now, I remember the NFL Europe. I don't want to spend too much time on basketball. That's not. On football, because that's not the question.
Right.
But in the NFL Europe a few years ago, I don't know if y'all remember this, but players were actually in contract with the NFL. It was called the NFL Europe. And players would have like a logo, almost like the All-Star game. Like one player on the Barcelona Dragons would have a Dolphins logo. Another player might have a Broncos logo or whatever, because they were under contract to get ready. So if the one and done is eliminated, what's going to happen is the path between college basketball and the NBA is going to be cut off, and it's going to go straight from AAU to the NBA. And I think we have, and I'm an exception, I know you're an exception, but a lot of people in this country that watch college basketball don't like the NBA. I think most people that watch the NBA, they have a little bit of an interest in college basketball. I'd say the last 20 years of my life, I've had more of an interest in the NBA as a fan just because the players are better.
Right.
They're just better players.
More athletic.
Yeah. So, and I don't get a big kick out of watching, aside from, John Morant, but I don't get a big kick out of watching an OVC game,
right?
Or a St. Mary's Gonzaga game late at night, 10 years ago on ESPN. Whereas this AAF, I was actually watching that. I'm actually interested in these guys getting a second chance to see if they can make an NFL team.
Right.
So I just think the one and done, I don't think they're considering making it 2 years. Because I'll say this. Can you imagine if Zion had one more year at Duke? What that would do for college basketball? Hype leading up to the college basketball season next year?
Him, RJ Barrett, and Cam Reddish.
Yes.
That team?
I think the 1 year is a good thing. I think the NBA wants to keep ties to college basketball. And I'll say what this is a bridge that we've already crossed. But the path to college basketball is quite honestly no longer high school basketball.
Correct.
It's AAU basketball.
It's AAU basketball.
And so because you don't have that path from high school to college, you've basically got AAU to college or AAU to wherever that will take me, which is basically, like you said, where social media will take you.
Yep,
Zion Williamson was a superstar before he ever got to Duke.
Exactly.
Facts.
And I lived in Greenville, South Carolina, where I started my coaching career. He was at Spartanburg right down the street. I actually coached against that school. And trust me, that was not top-level high school basketball.
Right.
Spartanburg Day School, okay? And you can tell, I mean, good gosh, that's like a
You
grown man playing with middle school kids.
That's correct.
So anyway, I think the one and done is a good thing to keep that connection. I think even though Zion is out, it's going to hurt ratings. But I think there's been at least just speaking for me, I've been a lot more interested in the tournament this year than I have in years past. Yes, during the season, Zion got me tuned in probably more than he had in the past. But when you spend a little bit of time watching, you start learning things about, hey, okay, that's Johnny Dawkins at UCF, and his son plays for him, and Bobby Hurley's at ASU. And I've got to where my brother got me on this, but I got to where I was watching Pac-12 games just to watch Bill Walton entertain me because he's so weird and funny. But it's a cool thing, and I just don't buy the whole NCAA mantra of, it's all about the kids, it's all about the academic experience. No. It's just not for the kids that are going to the NBA, and quite frankly, that's what we're watching for.
Right.
Most of us. And so let's not pretend that Power 5, SEC football is the same thing as Division II. Let's not pretend that occasionally you'll have your Villanova or your Gonzaga or your I don't know what example it might be, but
George Mason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you may have a situation like that or a Belmont, but you're not going to have. Again, that's where the intrigue of the tournament comes in. That we don't have in college football is you don't get that Cinderella story,
correct,
of somebody getting a shot.
Right.
So, to me, I just it almost doesn't really matter to me what I want because just as a consumer, I want to see Zion. If I'm interested right now to see who's going to get him and what they're going to do about it. Today all the talk has been about Durant going to the Knicks, and what if Durant has Zion Williamson and
Kyrie.
one more and a Kyrie? I think the Knicks are going to have some pretty good ratings.
Yes. Right.
That happens.
Yes.
So I'm interested in the East becoming relevant again, and I think this year there. By the way, back to our discussion, I used to love watching Brad Stevens.
Yes.
At
Butler. Right.
And so
Selvin Mack,
yeah,
Gordon Hayward.
So I want to see what's going to happen in this year. This is the first NBA playoffs in who knows how long, 9 years that we haven't seen LeBron.
14.
So I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen in the East because it kind of feels like the Celtics haven't really been what we thought. The Raptors have been hot. The Greek Freak's been the man really in the East. And then what's Butler and Embiid going to do at Philadelphia? That's all kind of in the mix. And then, everybody just wants to see if the Warriors are going to get knocked off by somebody.
Right.
And see if Harden can win some games and score 75 a game.
Yeah.
So, it's but nobody, I don't think anybody really expects that Golden State's not going to be in the finals. And it's just going to be a question of who's going to match them in the East.
The Rockets. The Rockets don't knock them off.
Why don't we just call them the Houston Hardens? Let's just stop calling them the Rockets.
Houston Rockets.
I'm a coach.
They're just they're Houston Hardens.
How you going to disrespect Chris Paul like that?
Chris Paul said the same thing. Chris Paul said James Harden's having a historic year.
He's boosting his
The Houston Hardens.
He's doing what a leader is supposed to do.
I'm a coach. The Houston Hardens.
Hey, I respect James Harden. I'm not one of these guys that says James Harden's ruining the game or anything like that, or this isn't basketball. Look, the game is what the rules allow the game to be.
Right.
So don't blame James Harden for doing what his team and his coach have decided is going to give them the best chance to win games.
Right.
That's like saying, I don't want, Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball over the field.
Right.
No, he's going to throw the ball over the field. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So
that gives them a chance to win. That's one of the game.
Yeah.
I would say this when it comes to one and done. I think that when you go back and look at the history, there's 45 NBA players that were allowed to come out of high school. 45. You really start seeing this trend in 95 when KG came in. He was the first player, in the 90s to go pro from out of high school. Then the next year you had
Malden High School, right? South Carolina.
Then the next year you had Kobe Bryant. I have a list of these guys. You had Kobe Bryant, then you had
Corleone Young.
Yeah,
you had some guys in the draft that shouldn't have been in the draft.
You had him and Jermaine O'Neal was both in 96. Those are the only two high school
Rashad
players.
Lewis.
Correct. And then the next year, 97, only one high school player, Tracy McGrady. 98, 3. Al Jefferson, Rashad Lewis, and Corleone Young.
He was a bust.
He was a bust.
Now, Allen Iverson entered the league what year?
I think 96.
And
he played 2 years at Georgetown or one?
He played 2 years at Georgetown.
And he probably could have gone, but he had the legal stuff going on in high school, right?
Correct.
And he changed the league.
Yeah, he changed the league.
Allen Iverson
He changed the league.
Revolutionized the league.
Right. In 99, you only had 2 players, Jonathan Bender and Leon Smith. 2 high school players.
And those 2 was flops.
2002, Darius Miles, Deshaun Stevenson. Came out of high school. 2001, this is when things started to get out of hand. You had 5. You had Tyson Chandler, who's still in the NBA, been a journeyman, but NBA champion. Eddie Curry. Flop. You had Kwame Brown, first overall.
Right.
Flop.
Jordan, what were you thinking?
Then you had this Sanjay Diop.
Diop. He got drafted by the Cavs.
The Cavs, but
it was terrible.
Terrible. They ended up trying to rejuvenate him in the Dallas uniform. Was bad.
He won an NBA championship, though.
Yeah. Then it has another kid who's in the second round, but I cannot pronounce his name. In 2002, you had one guy. That was Amari Stoudemire, who's dynamic in Phoenix, but had the injuries in New York.
Right.
Then this when things started to get a little carried away again. 03, LeBron James, obviously one of the most complete basketball players, top 5 player in NBA history. Travis Outlaw, what do you think?
Yes.
He had another kid, Indu Ebby.
I want to say he was like second overall in that class behind LeBron.
Right. You had him. Then you had Kendrick Perkins. Then you had James Lane. We talking about 5 guys.
James Lane. What
So
the hell were you thinking?
5 guys come out of high school. 2004, you had Dwight Howard, great player. Sean Livingston had the big bad injury though. Robert Swift, Sebastian Telfair, Al Jefferson, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith, Darrell Wright.
Oh yeah,
we talking about almost 7 guys, and it's like, well, hold on.
And if they get rid of the one and done, you're gonna see more than that.
And then the 05, it gets real crazy. Andrew Bynum, Gerald Green, C.J. Miles, Ricky Sanchez, Monte Ellis, Lou Williams, Andrea Bagnani, Amir Johnson. That's like 7 guys.
A lot of them guys still in the league.
Still in the league. Monte Ellis was a very good player. Lou Williams ended up being a big. They were the second round picks, but the first round pick is C.J. Miles. He's still in the league. Gerald Green still in the league. Andrew Bynum, had the injuries, 2-time NBA champion with the Lakers. But what ended up happening is that guys who were coming out of high school that were not ready for the pro game end up being in the pro game. And I think there are some guys who are at the high school level, and I say to myself, man, listen, that guy didn't really need college. And I look at John Walker out of high school, I say, that guy could have been in the NBA. But to me, I think, when I look at this, I think with the NBA, the rule came out for a reason. It was trying to limit some of the bad guys that would come out of high school that were just not ready to play at the pro level.
Right.
So to me, my thinking is that I think the NBA should allow possibly, you look at the AAU, I know they got the GMs there, they got the agents there. Man, you should look at probably the top 3 guys and say, man, you know what? Those 3 guys there, I'll make eligible.
Right.
But everyone else, whether you go Europe, overseas, or you go to college.
How are you going to justify the decision of those 3?
You would probably have to decide if there are consensus number 1 ESPN ranking or Rivals.com. You would have to justify their ranking.
But I wouldn't necessarily go off that because I was having an argument in the barbershop about 2 weeks ago about this. I was like, if you go back and look at the last 10 years of guys that was ranked in the top 10 in the country coming out of high school, you might have 1, maybe 2 kids that really went and did something.
Right.
That we still know about to this day. The rest of the guys, you're like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? And an interesting thing was, I go to the McDonald's All-American game, the Jordan Brand Classic every year. It'd be full of GMs, full of NBA scouts, and I'm the kind of guy, I'm going to pick your brain, I'm going to ask you questions. And a lot of the times, these scouts, when they're watching these kids, particularly over the last 3 years, and they say it all the time, they say, look, these days, we feel like if the one and done got erased, we feel like there are about 3 guys, maybe 4 franchise type players coming out of high school every year now. It's different than it was back in the day.
Correct.
And that's what a lot of scouts believe, and a lot of GMs believe in the NBA.
Athleticism is different.
They feel like it wouldn't be like it was 10, 15 years ago. They feel like every class, you got about 3 or 4 franchise type players. Now, it's just about doing your proper scouting, doing your due diligence of doing a lot of research on these kids, going all the way back to when they're in the 7th, 8th grade. Because what you find, a lot of these kids, if you don't do a research on these kids, how much do they love the game? Because when you get to the NBA, it's a business, it's a job. Right. And some of these kids have all the talent in the world, but if you don't treat this like a job, you'll go into the NBA and you will be a shell of yourself.
Well, and also I think you got to look at it this way. What's best for the league? What's best for the game? But what's best for the kids? Because I think a lot of times these kids, let's be honest. How many human beings, normal human beings, at the age of 18 are able to make a 5-year decision?
Right.
Just a 5-year decision.
Less than 10.
3-year decision.
Less than 10%.
And when you compound the difficulty, now you've got an 18-year-old, which all these kids are.
Right.
You've got an 18-year-old kid who's got 30 guys in their ear all the time. First and foremost, telling them they're the greatest ever.
Right.
Second of all, telling them how much money they can get right away.
Right.
A lot of these kids, their families need money.
They're part of the community.
And there's no money in college basketball.
Correct.
So it's very interesting because it seems to me that there's not really a code of ethics when it comes to agents.
Correct.
When it comes to, do I really want to advise this kid what's best for him?
Right.
And how do I, number one, how do I give him good advice? How do I really know what's going on? Because the bottom line is, and we're talking about Russell Wilson's contract a little bit.
Right.
Here's what's amazing to me, and you talk about due diligence, and you're absolutely right, G. But here's what's amazing. When you have talent evaluators with limitless resources, there is no lack of money. They can send as many guys to fly across the country as many times as they need to, find out every single thing you can possibly find out. And just in reading through that list, roughly, I can remember about half of those names. Yeah. About half of those names, I have no recollection of them at all.
Right.
But they signed a contract, and they probably got a little bit of money, and then a year later or 2 years later, they're probably figuring out what they're going to do with their life.
Correct.
So, not to mention that when they do get that contract, they've got 35 cousins they never knew. Want all, they need to be supported.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fair to put a kid in that situation.
Correct.
So, to me, there's got to be a couple of things that come into it, and it just seems like there's a lot of people that are just interested in money.
Correct.
And it seems like that's really the bottom line. I heard somebody talking earlier today about the Pelicans. Should the Pelicans sell the farm to try to get Zion and trade up and get a pick? And I want to say this. I don't know what the answer to that is, but right now, as excited as I am to see Zion Williamson, are we really going to suspect that a talent as great as Zion Williamson could come to a franchise like the New Orleans Pelicans right now, put that whole franchise on his back, and do something that LeBron couldn't do in LA, that LeBron kind of worked a little bit of magic early in Cleveland and could do? I don't know that we could expect Zion to get that done.
That's a lot of expectation.
That's not fair to him.
That's not fair to him.
So, I mean, to me, my whole point is, when you draft anybody, whether it's one and done or whether it's right out of high school, it is a coin flip, man.
Yeah.
It is a gamble.
Yeah.
And it's a calculation of risk, and it's a calculation of what do we think is going to work. And I've talked to you about this, and I've learned this from firsthand experience. And ask me every year for the next 5 years what I think about this, because my opinion is going to grow and change, and
right.
I'll be interested. But with college football, particularly at the quarterback position, I'm convinced that college football coaches are cool, generally speaking, not every college football coach, but coaches are convinced, hey, if I get 1 out of 4 right, I'm good.
Right.
So I'll screw it up 3 times.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
Because all I need is one quarterback about every 4 years that turns out to be good. And guess what? If I get it right 2 out of 4, one's going to transfer anyway.
Right. Right.
So it's a gamble, and these coaches are under such pressure to do it now, and the NBA programs are, get it done. And now, gosh, you think high school coaches and college coaches are afraid of players. What about NBA coaches?
I think one of the things I heard in the past that, NBA scouts and GMs got tired of hanging around high school gyms. They got tired of hanging around that level of, trying to figure out, and I'm going to take this guy. You're hanging around high school. You're hanging around 16 and 17. You're a grown man trying to figure out, for my job's sake, do I want to hang around a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds trying to see if I make an organization to sit? Not, some guys are, to me...
And I have to go through the high school coach to get to the kid,
correct,
which I'd rather just bypass anyway.
I'd rather bypass anyway.
Right.
I'd rather bypass him.
Right.
It's a little different if you're probably going on a circuit. G probably be more familiar with that. If you go on a circuit, you're probably talking to a lot of different coaches, a lot of different guys. Because you're dealing with all the talent versus just dealing, that guy's the best player on his team. He's probably the best player in the city. And I'm trying to talk to this high school. They got tired of that. And plus, especially if you get the decision wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
I think one of the issues, and it's getting worse and worse. You got these kids that you got people that's training them. You got people that, I think he's gonna be the next one, so I'm gonna start taking care of him. And they call handlers.
Right.
You got these AAU coaches that want some kind of piece of the pie.
Yeah.
You got about 3 or 4 different people that you gotta get through to actually get to the kids to try to build a relationship with. And like you said, grown men, and that goes for college basketball too. But these scouts,
coaches,
these scouts and these GMs of these NBA teams, you you don't want to have to go through all of that.
Right.
You know, you got these people that saying they gonna sabotage this if you don't do this. You know, there's a lot of different things like that going on behind the scenes. People want something in return. They got hidden agendas, and that's when this one and done, if it ever gets erased, and it probably will get erased, and you see this happening, you're gonna see a lot of stuff going on. You know, it's already going on in college basketball behind the scenes, but it's gonna be to the forefront now because it ain't gonna be illegal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be illegal. So you're gonna see a lot of stuff going on. You're gonna see people popping up with new cars, people popping up with new houses, a lot of different stuff gonna go on. And you'll have people say stuff like this. Look, if you don't do X, Y, and Z for me and my family, guess what? If you try to draft them, we'll just go overseas. Then we won't play for you. Yeah. Stuff like that. You're gonna see that kind of stuff starting to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
It's gonna be a $10,000 application fee just to get in the room to talk.
Man, they got kids right now that's getting paid $10,000 just to go play for an AAU team. So I'm just saying, it's gonna get crazy.
It's gonna get crazy.
It's just gonna be legal now because the one and done rule is gone.
I can think that the rule came out for a reason. I'm not opposed to it, but I think that the NBA got to find a system to where I will only allow maybe 2 or 3 guys per draft class to say, listen, I think that guy has the athleticism, the freak of nature. He has the ability, athleticism-wise. It has to be a certain level of athleticism that you see that, man, listen, that guy.
And physicality.
Because the NBA is a very physical league. Yeah. There's a level of athleticism and physicality that you have to see. Maybe through some testing, through some,
I just don't know how, Fred, you're ever going to regulate that decision-making process and not put it on the teams. Because if you're going to put it on the teams, then, which I think is what you have to do, then how can you limit it to 3 or 4? Right. Or how can you arrive at that decision? Like you told me earlier, well, this high school class or this draft class after Zion, I think Ja Morant's pretty clearly right there. But, maybe RJ Barrett, but it's not the strongest class coming in.
Right.
Well, I think what we've seen that's not good for the fans, it's not good for the kids, but what the financial money is willing to do if you just let the capitalism happen, let the marketplace dictate, what's going to happen is teams are willing to gamble.
Right.
And so if they gamble on a guy that a year later he's in the NBA one and done,
right,
or he gets injured, or like you remember Oden, the big guy.
Greg Oden.
Even he played at Ohio State, but you get a situation like that where a guy just doesn't make it. The people that offered the contract are cool with it. They'll just move on.
Right.
Meanwhile, the kid may have had a big contract for 1 year. He didn't really understand that he pays 56% income tax. Right. And then not to mention he's got an agent fee. And not to mention and then he didn't understand that, I moved to California and I bought my mom a house in California. I didn't know that there were property taxes out the roof out there. And by the way, I sold my house a year later and lost $300,000 on $1 million home. And then a year later, I'm in debt. I have no career, and I have no. I've got people with their hands still out thinking I'm rich.
Nothing to show for it.
Nothing to show for it.
Yeah. So that's not right. That's not right for the kids. I think I don't know what's in place. You may know G better than I, but what's in place with the NBA in terms of a players' association? Is there something in place like that looks out for their long term?
I know Chris Paul. They have something in place. I don't know exactly. I would have to do some research about it. I know Chris Paul has something in place. For those for players that come in the NBA, that I think once you're in the league for, I think it's 5 years, 6 years, somewhere around there.
I know the NFL does.
Yeah, I think
they've got rookie symposiums at the NFL where you get a lot of training. You got a lot fewer rookies in the NFL right now buying cars and stuff than used to. Right. Zach Streif told me all about that. It was a really cool to hear because a lot of guys are just taking it easy when they get their first big contract in the NFL now.
Right. And in the NBA, too, you got to realize, too, that money is guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
The money is guaranteed, so you're getting all of that money. In the NFL, you kind of leery because you're like, man, if I don't perform this way, if I don't exceed these expectations, I'm not going to get this. So I got to be kind of mindful how I go about spending my money.
And you have to be careful. You have to not be careful, but you have to understand where you were selected. If you're a first-round pick, you got a fifth-year option. If you're a fourth-round pick, this is a 4-year agreement. And the less rounds you get picked, the less guaranteed money it is. So if you're a first round pick, you probably.
I think you got a lot better structure in place in terms of backing with the Players Association long term in the NFL.
In the NFL, yeah, you do.
So even though the money's not guaranteed, that's part of the collective bargaining agreement in the Players Association situation there. And, just as a fan, too, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the AAF fully, and I'm thinking, man, why didn't they just get something done with the PA? Why can't the Players Association let a practice squad guy, play in this other league? And,
they send people back without being able to pay for their flights.
Right. It's a give and take, right? It's a negotiation. So on the one hand, if you're a guy that's been cut from teams, or you've bounced around from team to team, you're trying to make a roster, the 53-man roster, and you want that extra opportunity, right? You want to be able to go play in the AAF. And there were a couple quarterbacks I thought did really well. Spurrier's quarterback, I think he was an SMU guy, looked really good. Looked like looked better than a lot of backups in the NFL. He may have a shot to do that now, but if the league had continued and gone on to a championship game, I don't think he would have been eligible for spring practice with an NFL team yet, because it was a 3-year contract with the AAF.
Right.
So, there's a give and take there that's hard to deal with. So I just think, that's ultimately, I think the NBA is probably the leader of all professional sports in social awareness, like social issues, which, some people say, who cares? But a lot of people say, that's pretty good. That's a good responsibility that Silver's showing. So let's take care of our players.
Right.
Let's take care, especially our young players, our younger kids coming in. I don't really know, G, that getting rid of the one and done really hurts anybody. I mean, what if that Zion?
So you don't think it's going to hurt college basketball?
Oh, if they get rid of it,
yeah,
it will.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying is, if like the blowing out of the shoe against UNC, right? What if that had been a serious injury that somehow could have threatened his career? Now all of a sudden we're saying that's the worst. But thankfully that didn't happen. Zion's healthy. But gosh, I mean, and some people would say, it's not fair, it's not right that Zion Williamson made the NCAA and all these schools so much money and all these networks so much money.
Right.
But sometimes everything in life is a risk, and so I'm happy he played with Duke for a year. Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to be until the one and done is gone?
I think in 2 years it should be gone. It's going to be gone.
Because the CBA is getting ready to come back up.
So what's the major force pushing in that direction? It's not college basketball. It's not college coaches. It's the NBA.
It's a number of different things that they're talking about.
I think if I'm the Players Association, I'll be pushing for that to. I don't want if a young man, 18-year-old, want to make himself eligible for the NBA draft. By all means, I think that the NBA needs a farm system for these guys. I mean, if you're a lottery pick, if you're like a top 5, top 10 pick, you're probably gonna have your guy on your opening day roster. But if you took that guy at 20th overall or 25th overall, I think he should be optional to where you can stash him in your G League team. Hey, look.
Well, here's what you don't have in the NBA that I think you do have in football. How many Kurt Warner stories do we have in the NBA? Guy went to the G League, got discovered late at age 25, and then became a superstar of the NBA at 28. You don't see that.
No.
The NBA is such a raw, natural athleticism
league
product. I mean, it's a product of raw talent more than the development that takes place in other sports. Now, I mean, to me, the most amazing talent that you see in the NBA is shooting. When you see Steph Curry, when you see Jokic and his Twitter highlights of those, buzzer beaters.
Trae Young.
Yes. You see those guys, you're like, okay, you understand those are guys that shoot 1,000 shots a day.
Right.
Getting ready for that. And the ball handling is there. But it's I also think that another thing the NBA's got to look at, sort of along the same lines, is if you're going to sit for a non-medical reason, I think that needs to come out of your pay. Because there's got to be some economics to that.
Not fair to the fans. You got people from all over the world. They bought a ticket for a game because they know LeBron coming to town or they know Trae Young coming to town or whoever, Dwayne Wade, and then you bought the ticket 2-3 weeks ago.
Right.
And now you bring your son there to go watch and play.
And contracted he's not playing.
And then an hour before the game, Dwayne Wade is not playing.
Right.
Rest.
Right.
Yeah. And
now your son is like devastated.
Right.
And it's just not fair to the fans.
It's not fair
But
to the fans.
what you do tend to miss with an 82 game season is the passion. Because the passion tends to. That's why the playoffs are so good, because the talent and the passion is there.
It's there.
But what you miss, that's what was so amazing about all these Elite Eight games that came down to the wire, and these kids are just on the floor, bawling their eyes out because they lost the game.
Trey Jones,
and you're like,
it was in
you
tears.
can see how much it matters to
Matters,
these kids, and that's what it wasn't that you like fights. I mean, fights are kind of fun, but in the 90s, man, when the Knicks, when Jordan and Sparks would go at it, when Oakley and Rodman would go at it, when the bad news, the bad boys of Detroit, when Kurt Rambis punched Larry Bird in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were passionate. And we've taken, and I'm not suggesting that we need to start letting fights break out, but what I am suggesting is the toughness of the game it's become such a step toward the All-Star game every day. And now the league has catered to offense, which I know that's true in other sports. Everybody wants to see scoring. Right. Everybody wants to see highlights. But you just don't see the same passion in a marathon that you see in a 100-yard dash.
Right.
I agree.
And it seems like the regular season of the NBA has become this slow, steady marathon.
It's a build-up to the playoffs.
It is.
It's a build-up.
Which is another season.
Which in football is a little different. Every game matters. Like, boy, you lose this game here, boy.
Yes.
But listen, we got about 15 minutes left, so we kind of switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get down. Got to talk Russell Wilson. People don't know he came out publicly and let the Seattle Seahawks know by April 15th. There's a deadline. I need my cheese. Long story short. That's what he said. I need to be paid. I need to be compensated accordingly. He's on the last year of his deal. The deal he signed a few years back, the 4-year deal that he signed with the Seahawks. What do you guys take is Russell Wilson basically letting the Seahawks know that I'm trying to be the highest paid player in this NFL. I want the Aaron Rodgers money. I want that caliber. Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers' annual salary around $33 million a year. Underneath him is Matt Ryan, about $30 million a year. Is Russell Wilson worth it, or is it overhyped?
He's damn sure overhyped. I think Russell Wilson is a good quarterback. I think he's probably like top 8, top 7 in the NFL.
33 mil too much?
Is ridiculous. Absurd. Okay. I like Russell Wilson. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a top 7 quarterback, top 8, depending on who you're talking to.
Right.
In the league. The thing about Russell Wilson, I mean, you got a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But were you really responsible for that Super Bowl? A lot of people gonna say Marshawn Lynch, Legion of Boom.
Right.
And that whole defense.
Historic defense, by the way.
Right. Since then, you really been the only game in town if you really gonna get down to the nitty-gritty with the Seahawks. And you did good. I mean, last year you threw for 3,400 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Right.
That's a really good season.
Right.
But you haven't willed your team to the promised land. Now, people gonna say, well, he doesn't have the talent around him. Well, does Drew Brees has Drew Brees had the talent around him?
Arguably, yeah.
Okay. Drew Brees has been playing with Michael Thomas is the first number 1 receiver, stud receiver he's had in his career. And Drew Brees has put up like some serious stats.
Well, Jimmy Graham was pretty good.
But I don't
tight
really,
end.
tight end. Yeah,
real good.
Right.
Marquise Colston wasn't bad.
Solid.
But he never made a Pro Bowl.
Never made a Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Never made a Pro Bowl. So my point is, Russell Wilson, listen, I don't know if this is agent pushing this.
Hey, Mr. White.
I don't know, maybe Sierra. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But I think that he should not be paid. He should not be the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid player in the NFL. And if I'm the GM of the Seahawks, I'm putting him up for trade.
Ooh. Coach.
I mean, that's just ridiculous to me.
Well, we're talking about the NFL now.
Yeah, it's in the league.
So in the NFL, they got this thing called the salary cap.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Russell Wilson, the reason he went to a Super Bowl was because of the whole team.
Yes.
He was a part of that.
Yes.
I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, the year he won the Super Bowl, he got paid $600,000.
He was a third-round pick. So
He did not start to get good money until after that. And so here's another thing I heard about Russell Wilson this morning, and I checked on it. Did you know that this will be Russell Wilson's 8th season in the NFL?
Yes.
If he starts all 16 games, he will be the second quarterback in NFL history to have started all games his first 8 years.
Wow.
After Peyton Manning.
Wow.
And you might say to yourself,
Eli too?
Yes.
No, Eli didn't start his first year. Kurt Warner did.
Oh, so his first.
And
okay.
you might say this. Well, Russell Wilson is more elusive than Peyton Manning, so he didn't take the hits. Russell Wilson has been sacked 160 more times than Peyton Manning had after his first 7 years.
Wow.
So Russell Wilson knows how to take less damaging hits. He's more athletic at the last split second to get himself down. You know how Tom Brady, I make fun of Tom Brady because he collapses like 3 seconds before so does Eli. They're just so slow.
Right.
But Russell Wilson is the master of, you can't get a clean hit on him.
Right.
You just can't. So
Former baseball player.
Here's the other thing. I really can't say ever in the NFL that so-and-so shouldn't be making such and such money.
Right.
Because the reality of it is, if you're going to pay Russell Wilson certain money, you're going to take that opportunity pay out of the pockets of other players.
Yeah.
So the real question I would have is, not does Russell Wilson deserve it, but are the Seahawks stupid for doing it because of what they're not going to be able to do with other pieces that they need?
Right.
But if you want to talk about just Russell Wilson deserving whatever it is he deserves, I've only got 4 quarterbacks in the league right now that are ahead of him. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them are only partially ahead of him because I've got Aaron Rodgers and Brady better than him. Okay. I've got Mahomes and Breeze ahead of him because Breeze is still a legend and he's still got a shot to go deep. Gotcha. And Mahomes is so fresh, we don't really know what he's going to be long term yet. But right now, Mahomes is great. Mm-hmm. So I got Mahomes and Breeze there, but then I've got about 3 guys that I'm kind of like, I don't know if it's kind of a toss up. You got Roethlisberger, you got Andrew Luck, and you got the new Baker Mayfield. What are those guys really better than Wilson? Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
I got Andrew Luck better.
I'm taking Phillip Rivers over Russell Wilson.
Well, again, Phillip Rivers. Here's my take on Phillip Rivers. I have grown to appreciate him. I used to hate the guy. Over the years, I've started to like him. Mm-hmm. I've started to pull for him. Right. But as long as he keeps losing to Tom Brady, I'm still going to be upset with him because he can't win the big one. He can't win in New England. And that bothers me.
But you're only good at your situation. Do you think Russell Wilson would have had the success he did early on in his career with the Seahawks if he didn't have that defense?
I don't think we would be talking about this if we give the ball to Beast Mode and win the Super Bowl.
That's what P.J. Brown says. If he wanted more money, he should have called an audible to a run from Marshawn Lynch in the damn Super Bowl instead of throwing that pick that lost all hope for getting the contract after that.
But see, that's not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a compliant guy. He's a leader, but he's not an Aaron Rodgers.
You don't deserve $33 million.
He should do a fade.
You don't deserve $33 million.
Should do a fade.
Marshawn Lynch just ran up the gut for 4 yards at a time, 3 straight runs, and just give him the ball again.
It's second and 1.
Somebody that deserves $33 million, you gonna call a damn audible. I need you to have some kind of alpha male in you at some point.
Yeah.
Gotta happen.
Throw the fade.
But
are you saying Russell Wilson's not an alpha male?
No, he's a yes sir, compliant guy, like you said. He's
speaking clean.
He's a people pleaser. That's what he is.
I think he's a winner, though, man. He's a winner.
He is a winner, but he has been put in a great situation. I say this all the time, especially in the NFL when it comes to the quarterback position. You're only good at your situation. It's a lot of quarterbacks I could go back and name. If they got drafted by this particular team, their career would be different.
No doubt.
So Russell Wilson got drafted by the Seahawks,
right?
And he came into a perfect situation. That was arguably one of the best defenses that this league has ever seen
in history.
Dak Prescott, he came into a great situation. Right. The best offensive line in football, a top 5 running back in football, you're standing. You can stand back there and make a damn sandwich.
Right.
When you going through your progressions.
So by your rationale with alpha male, you like Baker Mayfield more than Russell Wilson.
I'd rather Russell Wilson more than Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield's a little too out the box, in my personal opinion. Maybe the older he gets and the more he gets a little more experience, he might calm down a little bit. But I like Russell Wilson's poise. I just don't think he is good as he think he is. I don't think he can make all the throws on the route tree. I think he has to be in a certain type of situation,
right,
to be successful. And if you watch the Seahawks down the stretch last season, their offense was abysmal. It was terrible. .com. That was one of the reasons why they didn't make a run, because they could not score points the last
but Doug Baldwin,
5 games of the season.
Doug Baldwin wasn't healthy. To his case, he wasn't healthy. I think Rashad Penny, who they drafted out of NC State.
Mm-hmm. What about the year before that? I'm just saying.
Here's the thing with Russell Wilson.
Their defense fell apart.
Yes,
they lost their people. It's the same reason why the Cowboys didn't win more Super Bowls after Aikman and Irvin, because their defense started losing guys.
Right,
they started losing their defensive players. So.
Here's the thing I got with Russell Wilson. I'm a big businessman. I always like to look at the business side of sport because I went to school for finance. And I look at the business side of things. In business, there's a thing called supply and demand. And in Russell Wilson's case, he's at a point where what he has done, the image of the Seahawks. We talking about ticket sales. We talking about a guy who jerseys in the stands. We talking about when you look at the brand of what he is for Seattle right now. He has reached a point where his supply and demand meets each other. Richard Sherman is gone. Cam Chancellor is gone. That historic defense is gone. What is left of this team? Him. And that's what's left. Now, all the stats are going to verify that he is Aaron Rodgers like or Andrew Luck like. No, this guy could better throw for 4,000 yards, and he's never threw for 4,000 yards.
And what are you going to do, G, if you lose him? Because there's 22 teams that would make a major step up to get Russell Wilson.
And I agree with that, but at the same time,
demand.
You can't tell. There's no argument that would make sense to me that he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid player, for that matter, in the NFL. And I'll take it a step further. Y'all talking about he ain't got weapons and stuff like that. Cam Newton made it to the Super Bowl with Greg Olsen.
And he lost, and he pouted.
But that's neither here nor there. But he made it there. He made it there
Yeah,
with a bunch of average weapons.
And one MVP.
So Russell Wilson, yes, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. Right. But he does not deserve to be paid the highest in the NFL.
Well, he's at a point where his contract is up.
Listen, if his agent came down, and I'm in the front office for the Seahawks, he came and sat down to even remotely even thought about bringing this up to me about being a high-paid quarterback, I'm telling you, I'm getting on the phone.
He in Arizona?
And trading.
Listen, realistic.
Because you're insulting my intelligence.
Fine, okay, good. So let's be realistic. Let's play that scenario out. Mm-hmm. You say goodbye to Russell Wilson. Yes. What are you gonna do?
We starting over.
Right. With what?
We're gonna draft. We're gonna trade him and get some picks.
You're gonna draft Will Greer?
Listen.
You're gonna draft Locke from Missouri?
Coach Drew, before I give a player that kind of money, why are we gonna give you? Who we gonna have money to pay other people? How we gonna go out and go in free agency and get people to make our team better? So guess what? Let's get rid of you. Okay, let's just start this whole thing over again. Let's just start it all over again.
You're gonna have to go to free agency.
They're gonna lose game. Hold up, you think the Seahawks gonna be a contender next year?
I don't think so.
Okay, so why not start over and try to go build for the future before I pay him $30 million a year?
Proven time and time again, the first step is your quarterback.
It is. That's the most important position on the field.
You can't say, let's just build our team and then find a quarterback later. You got to answer that question first. Who's my quarterback? If you get rid of Russell Wilson, I'm telling you right now, there's 4 guys that are better, and you're not getting them. You're not getting Aaron Rodgers. You're not getting Tom Brady. You're not getting Mahomes. You're not getting Breeze. By the way, you're not getting Roethlisberger. You're not getting Baker. You're not getting Deshaun Watson. You're not getting Andrew Luck. You're not getting
Jared Goff,
Phillip Rivers, or Jared Goff. And Flacco just got traded to Denver, and you're not going to get Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe you get Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe figure a way to do that. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about this word deserve, and it doesn't matter what he deserves. I think your point is correct, Fred. What matters is, what is the alternative from a business decision? Say, of course, if I can get a quarterback that's a 6 and Russell Wilson's a 7, Why would I pay $33 million for a 7 if I could pay $12 million for a 6? That's fine, but where's the 6 and where's the $12 million is no problem, but where's the 6? You go right down to a 2. You go right down to you don't know what in the world you're going to get. Are you going to go to the Cardinals and get Rosen and build with him? I mean, I don't know.
My rebuttal to that is,
you trade for Andy Dalton.
How about Blake Bortles? He's available, right?
They gave him some money. And look what they got.
and again, on to a lesser degree, but I think they were. Why did the Miami Dolphins bank on Tannehill for so long? Why is Dalton stuck around in Cincinnati for so long?
You're making my point right now.
But there's no alternative.
There is an alternative.
There are 5.
Trade him, get some assets, and guess what? That's what your scouting department and your GM got to do. They do diligence and go out and scout the correct way to try to find who's that diamond in the rough in this draft. Let me tell you something. Even though I think this is one of the worst quarterback drafts in a long time, I guarantee you 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks will come out this draft that we're talking about in 5 years like, damn, that was a good pick. And I think somebody like Tyreek Jackson from Buffalo, who I think is extremely raw, has a long way to go, but he has the tools to be a big-time franchise quarterback in the NFL. So and it's all about bringing them to the right situation. Okay? And is Pete Carroll a quarterback guy? No, I don't think so. So maybe
Schottenheimer is, and he's the OC. And
right. So if Russell Wilson think he deserves $30 million and we can't get on the same page with that, bye. I'ma holler at you. Here's your walking papers. We're gonna get a 2nd round, 3rd round pick for you.
Then instead of being in the playoffs within a couple years, you're gonna be out for
How?
5 or 6.
So you pay him $30 million. Where's your money gonna go?
Well, again,
how you gonna pay for people for ages?
Again, I haven't got every player on the roster's contract in front of me, so I don't know the answer to that. And so all I'm suggesting is I don't have the details of the.
He's at a point where supply meets demand.
I think it worked out. I think it worked out for the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex Smith. Alex Smith wanted X amount of dollars. No, buy Alex Smith.
But they had Mahomes.
They had Mahomes.
You didn't know Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes.
But they picked him 10th overall.
Andy Reid
didn't pick him 10th overall.
Everybody think that person they drive going to be that. But he took a risk. He
moved up 17 spots.
They had a plan.
They had a plan.
You're talking about getting rid of Russell with no plan.
Yes, I have a plan. I just told you my plan.
You did not tell me a plan.
Yes, we're going to draft. We're going to do our due diligence.
So you're going to go draft and not free agency.
No. Who's going to draft in free agency? Who's going to draft? There's nobody in free agency for them to get.
So you're going to send it to the Cardinals and take Kyler Murray first?
And you just said it's the worst draft since you can remember.
It is, but I still think you're going to find 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks in this draft that we're going to look back 5 years from now and say, damn.
All right, you think really Kyler Murray's one of them?
Yes.
Okay, then there's not 2. There's maybe 1, and you think it's the guy from Buffalo.
But it might not be him. It might be Will Grill. It might be your boy from Missouri. It might be, Jones from Duke. You just don't know how it's going to play out.
So you're not going to say Haskins?
Just off the eyeball test and me watching these quarterbacks, this is one of the worst quarterbacks drafts in a long time. But I still think at some point, because you know why it was going to happen? 1 or 2 of these quarterbacks are going to get drafted by a team that's going to be a great situation. That's going to put them in a position to be successful, like a Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had a lot of question marks coming out of college. But you know what Bill O'Brien did? What we talked about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
He watched Deshaun Watson's tape, every game film from college. Right. And he said, these are the plays that he don't do good. These are the plays that he does do good.
Here's
and he changed his playbook around.
Here's what we're going to
learn. To accommodate what he does well.
We're going to learn a lot this season with these teams. Lamar Jackson at Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're going to see what happens there. We're going to see what Bruce Arians can do with Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to see what O'Brien does with Deshaun.
Yeah.
In Houston, I think that's going to be very telling.
They've been doing pretty even on an upward spiral.
I agree. And then I think the biggest thing and the biggest concern I have about Kyler Murray, and I like Kyler Murray. The biggest concern I have about Kyler Murray is I hope that Kingsbury gets him, and I hope that Kingsbury does his thing that he knows how to do on offense. But here's my concern about Kyler Murray. He can make the throws. I'm not concerned about his size. We know he's athletic. My concern, though, is the most dynamic thing that the eyeball shows me on his Oklahoma tape is his feet. His speed is dynamic. I have seen dynamic feet in college translate very differently in the NFL because the defensive speed is so much different.
Okay.
And so to me, when you see Kyle, even I saw a Steve Young highlight not too long ago. The days of escape from the pocket and then just weave and make people miss in the NFL, that just doesn't happen
anymore.
And we saw what happened to RG3. We eventually saw, even after Michael Vick did it for a couple of years, we saw what toll that took on his body. And Michael Vick had a cannon. My concern is Kingsbury going to put, I think the best model of style of play for Kyler Murray is Russell Wilson. It's get yourself outside, extend plays, get your first down yardage, but don't try to make big plays with your feet.
See, that's
he can make the throws, but is he going to revert back to his feet like Michael Vick did?
See, that's my
concern.
That's where I have to disagree with a lot of people because they try to label Kyler Murray as this guy that wants to get out of the pocket. If you go back and really watch Oklahoma, this guy stayed in the pocket a lot. He climbed the pocket well.
Yes,
he had a good pocket presence about himself. Right. And when he did move around, he's moving around to keep his eye down the field and find an open receiver. He's not necessarily trying to get out the pocket to run or because he can't see. He is trying to be a great pocket passer. If you watch him in Oklahoma, and I think Kingsbury, who his relationship with Kyler Murray, going all the way back to when he was in the 10th grade, cannot go overlooked. You got to understand that when you got a relationship with your quarterback.
I'm pulling for him.
That's going to play big dividends for him. And Kingsbury is going to put him in situations to be successful. I think they're going to run a lot of RPO. You know, people going to say, I just don't see that working. I think it will. Because Kyler Murray is that dynamic. They can do a lot of different things with him.
He can get out. He can get outside the end, gain 7 yards, take a slide, get up in 2nd and 3.
And if you watched him in college, he didn't take big hits. No, he knew when to slide. He knew when to get out of bounds.
Now, I've already shared it. I think their pick should be Nick Bosa. But if they take Kyler Murray, I get it.
And you're such a franchise back 5-10 years.
I don't think so. I think that he's that.
Nick Bosa is not going to make the Cardinals better.
I think that he's.
Sorry,
I think when you have a situation where when I'm looking at building a team, I think in quarterback is the most important position. That's going to be the most important position in sports. But if your offensive line is not so much dominant and attacking, you don't really have a solid, dynamic offense. I'm gonna start from the defensive end. I'm gonna try to.
So you think
I'm gonna start trying to get my.
Josh, if you have all of the line, going to be worse for Josh Rosen than Kyler Murray.
You don't bring Cliff Kingsbury in to draft a defensive player first round.
Well, they didn't bring in Kyle Shanahan not to take quarterback. They traded for one, but they started on the defensive end in San Francisco.
But they got Jimmy G.
They traded for Jimmy G.
Exactly.
But he had a pick.
Had they not traded for Jimmy G, you think they were going to pick a defensive end?
They had the 2nd overall pick. Did they take a quarterback? No. They could have traded Trubisky. They traded that pick 3rd to take Solomon Thomas.
And they got Jimmy G.
But they traded Jimmy G that came after.
It was a plan. It was that. You think these people went into this draft not knowing that's what they was going to do?
They going to start from the defensive end. They traded for their quarterback, but they started on the defensive end.
You think Kyle Shanahan ain't have this all mapped out before the draft that they were going to trade?
He wanted Kirk Cousins. They couldn't get him.
Maybe. My point is he had a plan in place to get a quarterback.
They was going to get one. Right. What I'm saying is that
it's not like I'm getting Solomon Thomas no matter what.
When Seattle started, when Pete Carroll got there, guess what they started on? The defensive inside the football. They actually signed Matt Flynn to the 3-year, $24 million, and they drafted.
You're making my point. They signed Matt Flynn because they thought Matt Flynn was going to be the guy.
Yeah, but they had a defense in place. They started from the defensive inside the football. That defense, 2 years later, was the most historic defense we've seen.
Let me tell you something.
You start to see teams now start from the defensive end, and then
the Cardinals draft Kyler Murray. They're going to win. They're going to win 6 or 7 games.
Stretch.
That brings this question to mind: is however long Belichick lasts, and I don't know how long Robert Kraft is going to live, or how long Tom Brady's going to play. That may change a lot in New England. But is New England the last true dynasty that we're ever going to see?
Possibly.
Because I don't know of we sort of said this about the Spurs with Pop a few years ago.
Yeah.
How many teams do you see that just have interchangeable parts, but they've got a culture? We talked about these college coaches. They've got players' trust to the point. Well, Bill Belichick, I don't know if they've everybody likes him. I know they don't. I know the culture is something that a lot of players don't like, but they trust that they're going to win games.
They trust the game plan.
There are players that have gone to New England and left and said, "I'm glad I'm gone, even though we won because I hated it so much." But that was the culture that he built. You've got a similar type culture, perhaps at Alabama.
Yeah.
Where assistant coaches hate working for Saban, and he loses assistant coaches all the time. Now, I wonder if Saban, with all the assistant coaches who leave, I wonder if he's going to be able to continue to build relationships with kids, because it seems like Dabo Swinney has all the benefits of the culture without all the old school fear tactics. He's going to demand things.
It's a new generation. Yeah.
He's going to demand things of his players, but he's going to love them. I almost feel like Dabo is almost like the Bruce Pearl of football, because he's so passionate. His kids love him. He's hard on them, but it's almost like he's a father figure.
But if you look at the connection between, like, at the pro level, looking at quarterback, head coach, we've seen the thing now between Belichick and Brady. The team that we probably can look at, and I'm not calling them a dynasty, because sometimes we're trying to create the same standard of expectations of what New England did, which I don't think we're really going to watch that and witness it to that caliber. But when you look at Sean McVay and Jared Goff and their relationship, you say, man, those two guys have a relationship there. They can be together for a long time. Now, am I saying they're going to compete for being 9 NFL Super Bowls? That's historic. We may not ever watch that caliber again. That's just something that you can't put that expectation on any head coach quarterback dynamic. But when you start saying to yourself, man, I think if long as Sean McVay stays there and Jared Goff keeps progressing, I can see Jared Goff becoming MVP.
Well, yes. And can McVay make the adjustments to Belichick's adjustments? Because every defensive coordinator that plays the Rams next year is going to have that Super Bowl tape. Yep. And they're going to see exactly what Belichick did. And it at least took them a half to get Goff going. And so that's the thing is, from an X's and O's standpoint, I think Belichick out-adjusted within the game McVay. So that's the type of thing that you – and it's always tougher. It's always tougher to have a consistent, dynamic offense than it is to have a consistent, stout defense.
Right.
Because to play defense, great, you have to know your assignments, play together, and be tough. On offense, you've got to think, you've got to execute, you've got to react, and then you've got to execute again, and you've got to make great plays on the football.
Right.
So that's why it's tougher to sustain. But I'm pulling for McVay, and I'm pulling for Goff. I'm also, even though Goff isn't quite as likable of a guy as I wish he were, but you look at a guy like Kyler Murray, and you look at Kingsbury, and that could really shake things up, which seems kind of fun. I mean, you remember RG3's rookie year, how awesome that was.
Right.
And how frustrating it was when he came back too early and irritated the knee, and then it was just never the same.
Right.
So I hope that Lamar Jackson does some cool things, but we're also, I think, going to see in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see some quarterbacks leave the game. And I think we're going to see Brady leave the game. We're going to see Breeze leave the game. We're going to see Rivers leave the game. We might see Roethlisberger leave the game. Flacco's probably going to leave. So all these kind of in between, Andy Dalton, Blake Bortles
Matthew
guys.
Stafford would be an old quarterback.
Yes.
Which sounds crazy.
So is Carson Wentz going to become elite? Is Matt Ryan ever going to become a veteran that's over the hump? I don't know. Is Kyler Murray, is Baker Mayfield? Gosh, wouldn't that be cool if the Browns are relevant, which everybody's excited about them?
I'm excited about the Browns.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun to see. I'm a Buccaneers guy. I want Jameis to do great this year. I know everybody around here likes the NFC South, but I'm kind of over Cam Newton. I kind of am.
Right.
And I don't really care about the Falcons. I know everybody loves the Saints, but I'm a Buccaneers guy. But I hope that I'm always going to cheer for Drew Brees. I love the guy and love Sean Payton's offense. But I really hope. I mean, Jameis is kind of his last.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Chance.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap after this.
I think that if this class was much similar to last year's class, I think they would have traded James. I think that this would have been a season.
Good point.
They would have traded him. They think they got a chance to get on Josh Allen or Rosen or Sam Darnold or someone of that caliber. I think they would have traded Jameis. And when you bring a new head coach in, I always think to myself, new head coach, typically, he's going to want his quarterback. And if Bruce Arians is an older quarterback, so he may stick it out with Jameis, but Jameis is going to have to put on a very dominant display because you got to understand, you got guys like Mike Evans, who's going to be dynamic. They just traded Deshaun Jackson. He lost some pieces. You lost Adam Humphries. Can Chris Godwin be a guy? But at the end of the day, if he come out there looking like last year, starting, looking at 3 touchdowns, 4 picks.
I think Bruce Arians is 80% sure about Jameis today. Because I think his biggest concerns about Jameis have been Jameis has the ability.
The ability's there.
He can throw, he can move.
I don't think he's as good a leader as people think he is either.
Yeah, his leadership's a little bit
questionable.
Yeah, you kind of look at the tape of him getting his guys fired up, and you're kind of going, huh?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Three names. I think that once Breeze and Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady get ready to hang it up, 3 names I think could take over the face of the league among quarterbacks. Might surprise you. Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G, as long as he's staying with Kyle Shanahan, has a chance to be one of the best probably could be a top 4, top 3 quarterback in this league. Deshaun Watson. I'm telling y'all, Deshaun Watson has something in him that you just can't coach. He has the intangibles.
I like him.
And him and Bill O'Brien, since he came in the league as a rookie, they got something special brewing over there. I hope they can put another receiver. I know Demaryius Thomas tore his Achilles, so he's not going to be back.
Fuller coming back.
That's not a big-time receiver.
They got a defensive line.
Yeah.
How's their secondary? I'm not...
Okay, but they have to give him more weapons. I hope they can find somebody in this draft to accommodate DeAndre Hopkins. Get him another running back. I think Lamar Miller's a pretty good player, but he's not good enough. And the third guy is Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold. I'm torn between Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz.
Wentz has a health issue.
Yeah,
Darnold has a
and Baker. I mean,
I just don't believe in him.
I believe him.
I think he could be one of those guys that could probably get you to the playoffs, but he
got the tools, G.
You sound like you think he's another Jameis.
Yeah,
he's a head case.
Yeah, it's like a time ball walking.
Here's the thing, though. Here's my prediction. I'll say this about Baker. If I'm on the sidelines with Baker, I'm buying into him a little bit more than Jameis. Jameis is kind of giving me a little bit of that. What?
Right.
Baker believes it. Baker's into it. If Baker has a year if they're in the playoffs this year and it's really a building year, I think that could have a trajectory.
Right.
I also believe if bad things happen, that may be a hole he can't dig himself out of.
Right.
Because I do think with all the confidence and the swagger that you see with him, sometimes you wonder what that looks like in the face of real adversity.
Right.
And I almost feel like the firing of the coach and, Greg Williams was out of the offense, so it was really him and Kitchens anyway. So now Baker's got his guy as a head coach. Kitchens is his. I mean, they've got the thing. They've got Odell now. Let's see how that works out with Landry. Let's see if Odell and the other guys on the team don't tweet out stupid stuff about the O-line and they don't start doing contract weird things and have a Steelers situation or holdouts. As long as they're believing in each other, there's a chance that could be a special thing brewing. But there's a lot of characters in the picture that any one of them could sort of screw the whole thing up.
I'll say this about Baker before we go. I think Baker's a good enough talent to get the Browns to the playoffs, but I think that once he gets there, he won't get it done. I think he's too easy of a person to get out of his game. The great quarterbacks have a certain poise about themselves. Drew Brees, poise. You can talk to Drew Brees all you want. Drew Brees, he's worrying about the next play, worrying about what defense you win. He's listening to Sean Payton on the headset. Tom Brady the same way. Look at Phillip Rivers, firecracker. There's a reason why he hasn't made it to the big game.
Right.
Certain quarterbacks have that. Them great quarterbacks have that pause about themselves. Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't see that in Baker. I just think that he's the type of quarterback, he'll get up 21-0 on you and then give you the game right back. I think he's one of those type of quarterbacks. I think he's good enough to get to the playoffs, but I don't ever think he'll be one of those guys that can get you to the promised land just by how he goes about things. I just think that that's his nature.
Now, before we go, Russell Wilson. See if he's demanding Aaron Rodgers money, trade him.
Trade him.
Get him out of there.
Coach, what you think?
Get him out of there.
You keep him?
I'm never kicking Russell Wilson out of my house.
I can understand.
Bye-bye.
He's at a point where he's at a point where supply meets demand. Right now, he's gonna be an upcoming free agent.
You're gonna have a hard time seeing me badmouth the quarterback.
And right now, I'm fortunate.
Pay the quarterback.
Unfortunately,
Me too. But if you ask me for $30 million, I will.
Unfortunately, I don't think the production meets the demand. But when you look at everything outside the organization and what he does for that community and what he does for the organization, and he's the face of the organization. That's bigger than his production. You gotta write the check.
How many professions in the world?
Gotta write that check.
If you're like the 6th or 7th best in the world at what you do, you're a bum.
Check.
Nobody said he was a bum.
I'm not saying bum, but I'm not saying Russell. I'm saying we look at the NFL quarterback list, and when you get down to about 6, 7, 8, 9 at some point in there, you're basically saying I don't care anything about it. He's not my guy.
No, it's just you don't deserve to be paid. You just don't deserve to be paid $30 million.
There is no deserving or not deserved. The word deserve doesn't mean anything. It's a matter of economics.
It's economics.
It's a matter of what are they going to do if they get rid of him. And you don't know, G.
They don't have a plan. They're planning.
I'd have a nice plan. Somebody to hire me as a GM. I'm telling you, I will get a franchise together. I'm telling you. Trade him. We starting over. We're not going to win for the next 2 years. Expect that already. Fan base, we letting you know. I guarantee you, after those 2 years, though, we're going to be rocking and rolling again.
Hey, trust me. I went to the Seattle Monday Night Football game this year against Minnesota. That fan base is not going to be happy if you don't give Russell his money. You know how many 3 jerseys were in the stands?
They want to talk about coach.
They want to pay the man.
Play the man.
He is
I would
the
have
mayor.
3 jerseys, 2 hoods. What other jerseys are they going to have in Seattle?
That's my point. You got to write the check. You got to write the check.
He's the mayor.
He got to write the check. Nah, does his production mean that he should be a $33 million guy? No. Look at the jerseys.
Long as you know. Long as you know.
Look at the jerseys.
Long as you know.
He
top 7 quarterback. The top 7 quarterback.
Top seven.
I've got him number 5.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And I'll tell you what, I believe in Andrew Luck, but I don't have Luck ahead of him until Luck gives me some big playoff wins.
Wow.
And I don't have.
Did you see the team that Andrew Luck brought to the playoffs?
Oh, he's great. I'm not saying he's not great. He's great. And Phillip Rivers did a lot, but I'm taking Russell Wilson over both of those guys right now. If Luck
can't do it,
starts getting some bigger wins, I think Luck's got every tool. I mean, he's great.
I gotta have him. He's top 5. He's a rubber. He's above
Do
Russell.
you think he could shave his neck a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. He let you grind.
And he can do an interview where he doesn't talk like this.
Listen, that's our show, FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports. Listen, subscribe to the page, man, each and every Thursday. Get tuned in, get locked in, man. We appreciate everybody, all the comments, man. Don't go nowhere. Next week, we're going to have a lot going on. We'll have a college basketball champion next week.
Auburn Tigers.
Oh.
War Eagle.
Oh, Lord.
GSportz, man, we signing out.
Man, y'all have a good one.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem, Coach. Man, Russell Wilson over Andrew Luck, Coach?
Wow.
Over Andrew Luck.
Took me for a loop right there, huh?
Oh, accomplished.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, man, it's Fred. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our New Orleans Talk Network page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.